And we're live. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Dark Tower Palaver. My name is
Hello
Tad.
there. I just had to say it. Tad told me not to say it, and I had to say it.
No,
I'm Peter.
I was telling myself not to say it.
Oh, well, so I'm allowed to say it.
No.
Oh.
You'll be punished after the episode.
What's that thing? Blink twice if you're in danger.
Annie Wilkes has taught me how to punish.
Oh, no. Sledgehammer or axe?
That's the question.
Oh, God. Yes. You have one of those ones that has both sides? I've seen you handle one of those before. It's terrifying.
Yes. Yeah. Annie Wilkes, she's a good teacher, isn't she?
No. No, she's not.
So yeah, welcome to the show. We're here for a round table. A good number too, 119. It's a fun little number there for the which episode we're on. I don't know what we've done historically on 19 episodes, but this one works out. We're doing the comic books. It's something that people have been wanting us to do for a while, so that's good. But I don't know. I don't know what like episode 19 was or anything like that. What else would we have? Like, wait, is that it?
It's the only other 19, right?
I guess it would be.
No, did we do something for episode 99?
I think that was
An end of year bash or something.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I don't think that was on purpose, but so it'll be episode 119. So let's go ahead and hit the intro and get started with the podcast up before we dive in too deep with stuff because we'd hate to just repeat it for the podcast side. So let's go ahead and hit the intro and get started.
The Dark Tower by Stephen King. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Go then. There are other worlds than these. Death, but not for you, gunslinger. It's time we had our own Palaver, I think, and it's going to take a while.
And yet, dauntless, the slug horn to my lips I set, and blew. Child Roland, to the Dark Tower came.
We are content, one from many. Let the Palaver begin.
Hello and welcome to Dark Tower Palaver. This is our podcast covering Stephen King's magnum opus, the Dark Tower series. My name is Tad.
And I'm Peter.
And we're here for episode 119. So we were just discussing right before this in the little YouTube thing that I guess we've only had one other episode 19 up to this point.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Episode 99, because that was the question. It's 1999. Those will both come up in the books.
Yeah.
99 was the very first episode of 2021.
Okay.
So it was not the end of year bash like I was thinking. It was the first.
It was
episode
going to
of
be, but then
2021.
something happened that year that threw us off.
We had to miss an episode.
Something. Yeah. I remember that now. What was did you see 19? Did you look that one by chance?
Interesting note. It does not come up when I go to my podcast. I'm using Google Podcasts.
Oh, really?
It doesn't go far enough back to go to episode Roundtable 19.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm certain it would be like on our website or
That's what I'm checking now.
Podcast Addicts. Yeah, I just don't remember if we did anything special for episode 19. That was so freaking long ago now. 100 episodes roundtable wise.
Yeah.
But in terms of years, that would have been a lot. Because I'm guessing that would have been in our first. Well, no, it wouldn't have been our first year. First calendar year because we started in October. So I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember what it would have been, but maybe we did something special. Peter will look into that. But let's go ahead and dive into the intro. First of all, hello, Carol and Mike in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. First of all, we want to warn you about spoilers. This is a roundtable episode, so we will spoil things freely. We're our safe spot for you to listen if you have not finished the series is our book club episodes. On our book club episodes, we pretty much go 95% of the episodes, if not more, maybe 97%. It's quite a bit of it is spoiler free. But at the very end, we do have a spoiler section now. We've added that in the last 6 months or so. But we make it very clear to you when we're going to start the spoiler discussions. So most of those episodes, and it's at the very tail end. So most of those episodes you can listen to the entire thing up until like we'll tell you, and then you could stop and maybe come back to it after you finish the series. But these are not safe episodes. There will be spoilers, so you are warned.
Oh yeah.
Next up, if you want to find us, you can find us on Apple Podcasting. You can stream us on Spotify or Stitcher. You can find us on any podcasting service. If you want to subscribe, rate, and review us on any of those, we'd appreciate that. And if you want to find the show notes, you can do that over at darktowerpalaver.com. That's pretty much Dark Tower, where your hub for Dark Tower Palaver everything. We have links for everything over there. We have our questions for new listeners. If you're a new listener and we want to welcome you, first of all, as part of our extended quartet. And the best way for the quartet to get to know each other is for extended introductions, which we're about to get to in our book club, as a matter of fact. I think we just ended with...
Literally, Roland walks off the road and is like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, and in fact, I think we had the quote from our intro on the last book club.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah, it's time we had our own palaver. It's going to take a while.
Yep.
So one of my favorite lines, because it applies perfectly to the show as well. So we're getting there in that. But yeah, if you're a new member, we have a set of questions. You can answer one of them. You can answer all of them. It's kind of a way we've found that's good to introduce yourself as both a Stephen King fan and as a Dark Tower fan. So find those over there as well. If you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. We have our Discord server at any level of membership. You can get access to that, as well as our monthly hangouts. We just did one on Hearts in Atlantis, and we're going to be doing one not this episode but next. We do them like the day before a normal episode. We're going to be doing one on the Hearts in Atlantis movie, because we did not discuss that. So we're going to be doing that on our next hangout. Do that. You can find that over at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. And if you want to contact us, Peter can let you know the ways to do that.
Best way to reach us is email. It's darktowerpalaver@gmail.com. So if you answer those survey questions on the website, just go ahead and shoot us an email. You can see our shows. It's youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. On top of seeing our shows live when we record the actual podcast itself, like we are right now, you can also see our exclusive YouTube content, such as we have the reaction video for Firestarter.
Yep.
And then we also have our reaction videos for the March Madness that just concluded last week.
Yep.
We will be diving deeper into that this episode, but go over to YouTube, like, subscribe, ring the bell to get notifications for when we post videos and also when we go live. And then our social media is facebook.com/darktowerpalaver. Our Twitter is @darktowerpod. That's POD for that. And then our Instagram is darktowerpalaver, all one word, no spaces. And then check out our merchandise. It's tpublic.com/users/darktowerpalaver. You got the...
Get the classic shirt here, not the slanderous one.
The better of the two, where it tells you the truth here. #Tat is terrible. So.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think your shirt spreads lies, lies and deception is what I believe. So.
No, it's great. It's awesome. So I did look it up. Roundtable number 19 on August 31st, 2016 is, I think, when you posted the show. So probably a few days before that is when we actually had the show.
We didn't do live back then.
Was our first ever live show. So
really?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
So don't you say we didn't do live. Yes, we did do live. It was our first ever.
Yeah, we did one of those. I don't even remember why we did that. Was it to have kind of a call-in thing or something?
I think it was just so that we could have
because it wasn't like YouTube Live and stuff. We were doing some other weird thing there for a bit. But yes,
it says that we are on to talk about when we might see marketing material for the movie. Talks when the first footage will be seen from the movie, as well as when discussing the new marketing material that dropped on August 19th, as well as share some amazing fan art shared to us from Twitter and Wandering Down the Path of the Dark Tower augmented reality games.
Yes.
That seem to be cropping up.
Okay, yeah.
That's what the live show was.
Okay. So, yeah, that was episode 19. So here we are at 119, 100 episodes later.
And we're still live.
Yes, now we're live all the time, so it's nothing special necessarily. So the first thing we want to do is cover the results of the March Madness. If you haven't been following us over on YouTube or if you haven't seen anything on social media, if you're just strictly a podcast listener, whether you're doing it through the traditional podcast manner or whether you're doing it on YouTube. On YouTube, you'll be able to see everything here. If you're on the normal podcast, jump over to the website. We do have posts for all that, including the last post that'll have the results. You can find that over there at darktowerpalaver.com, where you can see like the charts and everything that we're about to show here live on the show for the people on the YouTube side. So first of all, Let's go ahead and change the old cameras around because we're going to show the bracket where it stood in the finals. And that was Oi the Brave versus Eddie Dean in the finals.
You got me on the wrong side there.
What?
I'm supposed to be on Eddie's side.
No, I mean, it's the side, that's the side you're always on now.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah, that would have been unfortunate if it had come out to be maybe like Flag and Eddie. The cameras would have been backwards there. I would have had to have flipped us. You know?
At that point, we would have flipped.
Yes. I can't be associating with people that are on the other side of Flag. That would be unwise.
Like Bobby Tyler.
Yes, indeed.
Who was it that sent that in the Discord this week? Just a screenshot of that page where it's Bobby Tyler.
Yeah.
You done messed up.
Yeah, I think it was Chris from Australia. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's reading the unrevised.
Oh, that's
version of the
right.
stand,
Yeah.
which is something I've never done. That's something I'm going to have to do at some point. I've got to figure out a way to get my hands on a copy of that.
It'll be very interesting. If you do get a copy, you have to let me know.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to go through. But yeah, so that's where we ended up with our finals, and then as we go on here to the next slide, we had the actual results, which were Eddie Dean at 51%. And Oi at 49%, and it literally came down to a single vote. If one person that voted for Eddie did not vote, it would have been a 50-50 tie. So it was very, very tight. We hadn't had a tight one the entire time. I don't remember the first one we did in 2019, how tight any of those were. I know we had some tight ones at times,
Yeah.
but we weren't necessarily doing it like this where we had charts and stuff. But this one, it was interesting to see it come down as tight as it is, because the whole time I expected some tight ones, and they were just, I mean, I think the tightest we had was like 50 something to 40 something.
Yeah.
You know, like it was never well, I guess I guess high 50s. I think like 57 was kind of is what I have in my mind is like maybe the next tightest. So I wasn't sure what to expect here, but yes, Eddie, as I predicted,
Yeah.
when we had our predictions on our YouTube show, I did throw out my prediction. You predicted Oi, but I said, you know what, Eddie's already beat Jake and Roland, which he shouldn't have beat either of them in my mind. So in the same way, I didn't think that he had any business beating Oi, but I figured, why not go with the pattern there and just say, hey, he already beat two people in my mind he shouldn't have beat. So I'm just going to go with him. And yeah, by one vote, it turned out I ended up correct on that. So, of course, Peter can have his victory lap as well.
Woo, Eddie! My boy. I'm so happy that Eddie won.
So we can go over to we have the bracket here as well. Let's see. Yeah. I guess, or let's see, I can get us off of the screen altogether. And then you see where it says he is there in the final bracket in gold, Eddie Dean. Of course, I found me an Aaron Paul picture that worked out pretty well there. So that is the results. The other thing I wanted to share, which we shared on our show, is Dark Tower Palaver March Madness will return in 2023. We're going to be keeping our email chain open, as well as all social media, if you want to send us maybe potential ones that you may want to see for the next March Madness. We'll gather as many ideas as we can. We'll come up with the best one. And
Now, see, the question I have for this, I was thinking about this in between shows. And
yeah.
does it have to be Dark Tower related? Or is it Wider King as well?
I think it can be Wider King, but I think the Dark Tower ones are certainly probably the most highest priority to start.
Because the first thing that came to my mind is non-Dark Tower books. And just, what are your 16 books that you want to see go head-to-head? And
Oh, okay, I see what you
see,
mean.
just, you know,
Yeah.
I want to see It versus Pet Cemetery. And,
Yeah.
and The Stand versus The Shining. And it just, I don't know why, but I think that one would be really hard and fun to do.
Yeah. And I'm all about getting ones that are hard. I love making people like suffer. You
Yeah.
know, when they're sitting there voting, I want them to be sitting there kind of like, you know, because I don't think we really had that with the most hated. I think there were a couple times where people are a little bit torn because there were two vile characters against
Yeah.
each other. Maybe the finals as the
Rhea versus Cordelia.
yeah, probably the prime example. But I always love finding like some kind of thing that will make people suffer when they vote, because that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be easy. It shouldn't just be like
I'm just throwing it out there. I know we got a year basically until
you have to
it comes up.
you have to take note of that. We already have had at least one person tweet at us with a suggestion. So yeah, it doesn't have to be Dark Tower, but I do think the Dark Tower ones would take precedent if we.
I mean,
find
we
a
just
good-
did two.
Yeah,
Most beloved and most hated. So
yeah. Carol says they both deserve to win, and I went with Eddie. Mike says I went with Eddie too. I wanted him to have have a puncher's chance. Okay, which honestly, the thing is I was surprised going into this, man. I said it on our reaction video or our reveal video for the finals of the March Madness. Is like, honestly, I just had no, like, Eddie didn't. I knew he wasn't like a lightweight, but I didn't think that he would. When I looked at the bracket and kind of like spelled it out and how it might probably go out in my head, I saw that it was most likely going to be him versus Jake and then him versus Roland if he was to beat Jake. And I was just like, there's no way. Like, Jake is just such a far and away favorite to people, as well as Roland is. So I just didn't expect him to go like he did. And apparently, as I said in that other video, maybe paradoxically, Eddie supporters are a little bit more quiet about their fanship, which would be strange because Eddie is obviously far from quiet. So, Mike, that's a good one there. Top 16 flag appearances.
No.
I mean, it would be tough to just not vote for all of them, because they're all great.
Stop it.
Anytime flag shows up, it's a good thing. Then the other thing, let's go ahead and pop us off the screen here and then show off our result thing. So we have 2019, we had our most hated Dark Tower characters, which was won by Peter's favorite, Rhea of the Coos.
No. My favorite is the next one.
And then the March Madness for this year, we did have a couple years off there. Most beloved Dark Tower character, Eddie Dean won that one. And then, like I said, we will be back in 2023 for another one. We'll make sure that this is an annual thing for us. Definitely, if you have ideas for them, send them to us because we have a number of them to fill every year. We'll make sure to make this a annual tradition at Dark Tower Palaver to crown some sort of winner in a March Madness style thing. I think it's a lot of fun. So we do have that. So let's go ahead and jump on over to something that is maybe slightly related. So it's kind of funny. This actually came up in the news, even though this is actually from a video from 2014. King was doing a talk of some kind. At the very end, there's a Q&A. And somebody asked him who is his favorite characters to write. And the thing I wanted to point out is 2014 means that Holly Gibney didn't exist yet.
That's true.
Because we do know King has talked very, very lovingly and glowingly about Holly. I think if he was asked the same question now, Holly would probably be far and away his number one answer. In fact, I was waiting for that answer to come out of his mouth, and then when it wasn't the thing he said, I looked down at the date. I'm like, oh, that's why. That's why Holly hadn't been created yet. Because, I was expecting him for sure to say Holly. But let's go ahead and listen in to Stephen King, because this is maybe somewhat related to what we just talked about here. Maybe, and it's just... Maybe it's Caw that brought this back up because this is an older video, but there was some news, not news things, but like a blog or someone that mentioned this in some way. And I went back and trying to find the actual video. They were, because like the thing that was listing it listed the characters, but all they did is describe the characters. And they didn't really give any context as to like why King likes them maybe. So I was like, I need to see this video. See, does he explain or does he just like list some names off? And it turns out he just lists the names off. But then since I was there, I was like, we don't really, in this podcast, probably need as much explanation as to who these characters are.
Right.
So let's just actually listen to King answering the question. So let's go ahead and take a listen here. We could still talk,
You've created so many characters over the years.
God, I have so many characters over the years.
I know, and then so many of them have reappeared in other books. Okay, gun to your head, your number one favorite character to write about.
My number one
You
favorite.
have to pick one.
She's not letting him off.
I can hear your answer being there's too many.
Yeah. I must answer.
I have several in mind, but I want to know what yours is.
Annie Wilkes was fun. Annie Wilkes was a brat. She was a cock-a-doodie brat, but she was fun to write about. If I had to pick one good person, Dolores was cool, yes. She's the one who says sometimes being a bitch is all a woman has.
That's a good line.
Yeah.
Dolores Claiborne was based on my mother. You're right, she was a good one. I liked Lacey Landon from Lacey's Story because she had a little bit of she had a little bit of my my own wife in her, a little tiny bit, not entirely, because it's a mistake to see any of these people as, one-to-one analogs. It's always make-believe. They're always, partly made up of a number of people. But I also like the boys in a story called The Body that was made into a film called.
That's a good one. Good,
Yeah.
good set of
I'll
characters.
stand by me. Gordy LeChance says in there, I never had friends like I did when I was 11. And I think that's true of most people. That's like the time when you discover, why, what's yours?
Oh, mine was Roland.
Oh, Roland.
Yeah.
Well, if I had to pick somebody from the Dark Tower stories, I'd pick Eddie Dean. I thought he was sort of a cool guy. I liked him, and I liked Richie from Richie Tozier from It.
Trash mouth.
Beep, beep, Richie.
Beep beep Richie, that's right. Beep beep.
So there we have it. Of course, what I love is just like I would do. King is asked to name one, and he names multiple.
Like 6.
So, but yeah, the fact that I just found it serendipitous that this surfaced to me in a way right now, literally when we were going to go into an episode where we were covering the finals of the most beloved Dark Tower, and apparently King agrees with our voters that Eddie Dean is his favorite Dark Tower character.
He likes to write.
So,
Yeah.
very, very interesting. And ultimately, that is just cool to hear him go through all those. And honestly, anytime I find some of these like talks that he does or Q&As and stuff, I always love listening to them because they're fascinating, and or interviews as well. Sometimes he'll do like late night shows or whatever, and I always love them because I just think that he's a great interview. So, and now you've read Revival, you could jump on the Kingcast and listen to.
I sure can. I'm excited to go through and listen to that.
Yeah, because I know that was one of your concerns was the fact that they were going to spoil that there. So,
we should update that. Did you mark that off for me?
no, I haven't jumped into the sheet here in a minute, so we'll have to do that at some point here. So yes, so that's a fun little thing from Cy King of who his favorite character is just to put a cherry on top of the whole vote here. That King agrees with the 51% of voters that pushed Eddie Dean over the top over Oi. So
Yeah, and Carol says Eddie's arc is so complicated and awesome. Yeah, that's one of the best things about him in the Dark Tower is going through just everything with Eddie, all the way from heroin junkie to flat out badass, owning Blaine and destroying Calvin Tower. That still is like my favorite. Those two are like my crowning jewels for Eddie.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, of course, the Blaine the Mono is that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's got to be the main one for me. Is Blaine. More so than Calvin Tower. I know your love of Calvin Tower makes the Eddie's beatdown of him that much more whatever. The thing is for me, I was always kind of torn on Calvin Tower. I never hated him as much, I don't think, as you did. I think because how nice he was to Jake to begin with. I think that kind of helped take the edge off of him for me a little bit. I don't think I ever got as heavily into Calvin Tower hate as a lot of our listeners, and you are one of those that are champion that cause of how much Tower is hated. But I don't know. I think that just. And like ultimately he does have his times that he gets pretty despicable, but overall, like him being nice to Jake, we do get a few more instances of him before you start seeing him being a real like heel. So I just think that helped me not hate him as much when he got to those moments. I was definitely frustrated by him, and I definitely enjoyed
Yeah, it's one of those things that you can always be like he was nice to Jake and everything like that, but when it came crunch time, when it's time to put your cards down and everything like that, he was a coward and he was an idiot, and that's just I can't abide being an idiot and putting people in danger.
Yeah,
that's where Tower drives me nuts.
Okay, so that is kind of like I said, that's good cherry on top for the whole most beloved and of course most hated. I was actually surprised with Calvin Tower that he didn't go as further than he did. I expected him to be kind of a heavy hitter and if memory serves, he got bounced a little bit quicker than I thought he would.
I think if I remember right, he went against Cordelia and got bounced by her, so which kind of shocked me. But then later on, after rereading it again, I'm like, okay, I get this. She is a vile piece of shit.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's an interesting matchup is Cordelia versus Rhea that we had in our finals.
Yeah.
Because, I think depending on what portion of the book you're reading, I think you could go back and forth on those answers. Rhea's vile and whatever, but so is Cordelia in a lot of ways is worse, right? At least Rhea's a witch. She has an excuse.
Yeah, she's supposed to be that.
Yeah, she's in her own nature there.
Yeah, she's supposed to be
But Cordelia,
vile.
it's like, come on, man.
Well, especially with the big thing with Cordelia is that you're put into a position where you have to raise a child up to you're responsible for her because your brother died, and the shocking thing that we find out that I believe because of how Cordelia acts is that she's in on the plot to kill Pat.
Yeah.
I believe that maybe she's not in on it like she was part of the plan where,
But like Fredo,
but-
too dumb to understand that she's part of it.
not that. I think that someone came to her afterwards and went, hey, this happened.
Oh, like more of the cover up, part of the cover
Yeah,
up.
this happened. Keep your mouth shut or
You'll be with him.
you'll be with him.
Yeah.
Or even not even that noble where it's like, oh, I was scared. I had to raise you. I had to worry about you. It's not even like that noble because that happens sometimes with characters like, hey, I kept this secret from you because I didn't want you to get hurt. You know, that kind of thing. I didn't want to tell you that you were adopted. Or, you know, whatever that is. But I could just see someone coming to her and being like, how much to keep quiet? And she'd be like, 2 gold coins. And
You
they're
know,
like, flick.
it just dawned on me. You know who she reminds me of?
Who?
We just read it. Hearts and Atlantis.
The mom.
Bobby's mom.
That's why I didn't like Bobby's mom.
Yeah, I don't think I made that connection.
Dude, I think you're right. She absolutely acts exactly like Cordelia. The like,
I don't think she's as like fully reprehensible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, she has obviously some damage because of some trauma that she's whether she's conscious of it or not, she's projecting onto her child.
Yeah.
But like some of the money stuff, like it feels
See,
very
and-
reminiscent of Cordelia.
and that's what I said in our because I'm going to go over this because it was in our hangout that we talked about it. But the thing with Bobby's mom that really got me is how bad she was before the trauma.
Yeah.
Like how she was with the money and everything like that you're talking about. That was all
Which
before.
that all sounds like Cordelia. That's
That
the same
sounds exactly
stuff
like
she
her.
was doing, right?
talking about the money and the name and
Yeah.
we're going to be put out on the street
And
just-
basically selling Susan.
which I it's something that I read when I was first becoming a father. Like, you know, like my child's not born yet, but on the way. Reading like one of the things you never do is you never blame a child for financial troubles.
Yeah.
You never bring that up to them. You never make them feel worried about that because that's not their responsibility. That's not something that you should put on a child.
Yeah.
And I realized that there were times where I was at friends' houses. You know, hey, Mom, can I get $1 to go to the store and get a drink? No, you know how tight money and stuff like that. It was just awkward as hell to be a part of that.
Yeah.
My parents never did that to me. That was
Yeah.
one thing that they never did. And I made like an oath to myself, I'm not going to do that to my kids.
Yeah.
And I haven't. And Cordelia and Bobby's mom both do that to them.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we going to do? And it's like, okay, Bobby's like, what, 9? Why the fuck are you putting that on him?
Yeah.
I mean, Susan's a little bit older. She's like 14 in the book, right?
Yeah.
And so legally she's old enough to make like the contracts of being like the mayor's gilly or whatever.
Yeah.
But still, at the same time, just part of me is just like, they're the child, not you.
Yeah.
Like, you're the adult in this situation. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I can't stand that. I can't abide that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, Cordelia, there's elements of it that, yeah, she's pretty terrible. But, yeah, Rhea is hard to be. And also, I mean, I can't help but think that Rhea, part of it is we never get the resolution on her. Yep.
Cordelia dies.
Yeah, we know that Roland runs into her later. We get a throwaway line for that, but we've never yet seen that as readers. And I think that open sore for all of us is just it grates at you.
Yeah.
Like how sweet would it be if King just had literally a short story in a short story collection, and literally it was like 2 pages, and all it was is Roland coming upon Rhea and executing her. Like, and that's all it was. If it was 2 pages long, it would be Dark Tower people, like our Dark Tower fans. It'd be some of our favorite shit we've ever
Oh,
read.
yeah.
You know, even if it was only 2 pages. It's
Yep.
like, yeah, finally we have that. Like it's like a post credit, you know, scene in a movie where it's like it's just not, you know, not very long, but it could be something that was, you know, very nice to see. And I think that would be that kind of thing. I mean, if, I would take a longer Roland story.
Yeah, that's
certainly,
one of
but-
those things is when a bad guy gets away with it, you know, like does something horrendous. And let's be perfectly honest. Up until what happens with the belt, dude. If you took off what happened with Rhea and Roland's mother, I'd be hard pressed not to vote for Cordelia.
Yeah.
Like Charyu Tree is Rhea and Cordelia.
Yeah, they're both complicit in that.
They're both complicit in that, and more so, I would say Cordelia because Rhea's the witch of the coups. You know, the people aren't necessarily going to follow her without And without Cordelia, she doesn't have the strength to do it.
I will say though, man, Rhea's pretty fucking grating, man. Even early on, like some of the shit with her, like you're just like when Ermot gets iced.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like that's a glorious thing just because it makes her suffer, and that's a good thing. So yeah. A little tangent there, obviously, but it's all good. That's what the show's all about. So, hello, Mark.
Hi.
Welcome. I don't know about Peter, but I know I am well.
I am doing well. I mean, I have to deal with him so as well as I can. No. But I wanted to back up just a little bit in the chat here. Mike says, and standing up to the mob twice, talking about Eddie. Butt naked, Carol says, I believe it when Roland knew for sure Eddie is a gunslinger. Mike says, without pants. I think there's actually a line in Drawing of the Three where Roland says that, isn't there? Where he says, like, after the fight at the Leaning Tower, that he's like, yeah, this guy has the stuff to be a gunslinger.
Yeah, and it's mentioned about like fighting naked is pretty much the hardest thing to do. So yeah, definitely, for sure. Let's go ahead and jump on over here. You can keep an eye on the chat while I move over to the next thing. And this one is a fun one. The surprising Stephen King project Steven Weber calls his crowning achievement.
I love Steven Weber.
And this is an exclusive. This is from Katie Kroll from Looper on the 16th of March, 2022. Weber is obviously one that's well-versed in the Stephen King universe. It says, so at first it starts off here, it says Steven Weber, I almost said Stephen King, has a long, impressive IMDb page with over 170 credits to his name. Some of those credits included his the hit 90s show Wings, NCIS New Orleans, and his latest Chicago Med, on which he stars as Dr. Dean Archer on NBC Wednesday nights. If you look closer at Weber's resume, though, you'll notice a lengthy relationship with Stephen King and his material. In fact, Weber has held several roles in the renowned horror writer's adaptations, the most memorable, arguably, being Weber's return or star turn in the divisive 1997 miniseries The Shining. His other King-related gigs include Desperation, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, and Revelations of Becca Paulson from the Outer Limits revival series, which we've talked about that before. It's Outer Limits, but that one episode was based on a Stephen King short story.
Right.
So he got in with a King adaptation that way as well, even though it's technically not a King show. Says, however, it might be surprising to learn that Weber's favorite collaboration with the iconic author doesn't come from the form of a movie, miniseries, or television show.
Audiobook.
During an exclusive interview with Looper, the Chicago Med star revealed what he thinks is the best work he's ever done with King. Despite having appeared in 4 King adaptations, Weber chose another medium as his most treasured memory, working on with the Shining author. Then we have a quote from Steven here. He says, as much as I love doing all the stuff on screen, recording the It audiobook was really my crowning achievement in a way, says Weber. It was so much fun, and there were so many imaginations involved with everybody, not just me, but the writers and the directors and the sound engineers. It was a very involving process, one that I'm really proud of, I have to say. And it says, since narrating It in 2016, Weber has also lent his voice to King's 2020 audiobook If It Bleeds. And then it says, in general, the veteran actor has voiced dozens of audiobooks by various authors. So, and then closing out here, it says, when asked how he feels to have someone like King tap him over and over again in roles, Weber can't contain his enthusiasm and gratitude. Quote, it's stupendous, he says. It's so flattering on one hand, and it's also very moving to me. He's such a fantastic writer. He's so great, and I'm so proud to have been involved with his work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Just a small little thing, but I when I saw it, I was like, I wonder if that might be it, because he does voice it. I mean, honestly, you got to admit, so he steps into the Jack Torrance role.
Yeah.
And he narrates probably King's most iconic work of all time for audiobooks. So
with Pennywise,
that's two.
And he's so good.
Yeah,
too.
he does a great job.
That's one of the reasons why I keep coming back to it so regularly is, oh man, I might read it soon. Or listen to it, is because Steven Weber is just fantastic in that audiobook.
Yeah.
All the voices, the one that always sticks with me after I read it is the old woman that Bev encounters when she comes back to Derry as an adult.
God, that
my
scene,
father.
That scene in the movie was like brilliant.
It was really good in the movie
good.
too, but
yeah,
the audiobook version of it where he, my father.
Yeah.
That part actually like freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the point, right?
Yeah.
Gotta. Everyone's entitled to one good scare.
Oh, Carol says in the chat, she was talking about Susan here. She was only old enough to agree, in quotes, to the contract because the adults said she was old enough. The adults conspired to get what they wanted from her. Definitely a child. And yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's one of those like right now. It was something that came up. I rewatched the series Waco. I talked to you about that at work over the last couple of weeks. I rewatched that miniseries, and there was the age of consent where parents can allow children to get married.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Carol's talking about here. Is like different states have it at as low as like 14 in some states.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Luckily, that's been changing over the last couple of years,
yeah.
from what I
But
understand.
Waco takes place in the early
in the
90s.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty shady. And obviously, if King is replicating kind of more of the I don't know what you call it, like the agrarian era, like it certainly would have been. I don't know that the societies that were a little bit further in history necessarily had the same ideas about age and stuff like that. So, and I think that's what King was. But Carol's right though. Ultimately, right? Like, they're the ones defining the rules. So you obviously know that. Susan is certainly not old enough. Well, let alone the fact that it's this disgusting old man, right?
Yeah.
It's
someone
like,
old enough to be her grandfather.
Yeah. It's pretty reprehensible. I'm trying to remember what happens to the mayor. How does he get?
Roy or
all I can remember is
one of
the
the-
sheriff getting stabbed.
one of the coffin. The sheriff doesn't get stabbed. The sheriff gets shot.
Is the mayor
Susan-
get stabbed then?
The mayor gets stabbed.
Okay, I was thinking that was the sheriff.
He made because one of them kills Kimber Reimer,
Yeah.
and one of them kills the mayor. Because Kimber is the one that laughed at
He makes fun of his
the
cape.
Yeah, his cape.
Yeah.
The other one kills the mayor.
Okay. So that's good that he at least dies in a horrific fashion than
Yeah.
being stabbed. That's definitely good. Because he's a pretty bad
I'm pretty
character
sure that the
too.
sheriff is there when she rescues them from the jail, isn't she? No, she just kills one of her childhood friends.
Yeah, one of the
The
deputies.
sheriff. I don't think the sheriff is he.
He's killed that night.
Is he riding with them and gets gunned down? With
No,
Jonas?
no, he gets killed that night. I think there's a few things going on that same night, and I think he gets killed the same night as the mayor's killed.
I don't think the coffin hunters kill the mayor. I mean, kill the sheriff.
Yeah, DePape
Do
does
they?
for making fun of his cape.
No, that's Kimber Reimer. That's the
yeah.
chancellor,
Yeah.
not the sheriff. What happens, guys? What happens to the sheriff in Wizard and Glass?
Maybe because he's in on the whole conspiracy with them. So maybe,
absolutely, he is.
Maybe he gets killed by the actual Roland's. I guess I shouldn't say gunslingers because there's only one of them there. So
No, they're full-fledged gunslingers at that point.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
they're just prentices. Roland, on the other hand, is a gunslinger. So yes,
Dude, that is blowing my mind that I can't remember what happens to the sheriff.
Yeah, I'm getting those two mixed up. I always do that. I tend to merge those two for some reason.
Him with Kimber or him with the mayor?
No, Kimber Reimer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those two I mix them up. So, the mayor though, he's pretty bad.
Stabby.
Yeah, he deserves that. All right, so jumping.
No, yeah, he is later killed by Susan Delgado when she frees the three gunslingers from Hanbury Prison.
I thought it was someone that she knew from her
I
childhood.
think she kills both of them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like she kills him first, and then the shot brings the sheriff, who then comes in and she has to kill him as well.
Okay. And that's far less bad because there's the thought process that he's involved in her dad's death.
Right,
But
Mark's right.
But
Yeah,
does she know that though? Is the question?
I don't. I know she knows that the one other rancher is involved, and everything. Mark's right. They plant the rook skull on the mayor.
Yeah, on the mayor
when-
certainly. Yeah.
with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, the sheriff is killed when she goes to rescue the boys.
Goddamn Cuthbert and that stupid fucking.
This is a
skull.
lookout?
Yeah,
The lookout?
Stupid fucking thing. Almost dams them all. I can't wait to get to that book club wise.
Oh, I know.
That's a fun one.
I love when he talks to the rook skull and like chastises it. You were supposed to be on watch.
Yeah. So this next one's really strange. I'm going to admit it right up front.
Okay.
In fact, I'll even read it before I put the slide up. The headline is Ben Stiller is in talks to star in Ivo Van Hove's stage adaptation of Stephen King's The Shining.
What?
Yes, indeed. So this is not the musical that just. I mean, they came actually out in like the early teens, I think, and then it was just redone recently in Colorado earlier this year.
Right.
But this is not that. This is an actual play, so not musical. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started here. It says Greg Evans from Deadline on March
Carol
21st,
just-
2022.
Carol just yells no in the chat.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Ben Stiller fan, except for Mystery Men.
The awkward
That's
comedies.
an all-time classic. Is
What
Mystery
about
Men.
Meet the Parents?
I mean, I watched it back in the day. I couldn't see myself ever watching it again. Like,
No?
it's I don't know. Mystery Man, I'll stick with that. Yeah, I'm more of a fan of his dad, Jerry Stiller. Is it from
Yeah.
Seinfeld? Yeah. So it says exclusive, a major new Ivo Van Hove stage adaptation of Stephen King's horror classic The Shining is in the works for a 2023 West End debut. So good news for all those folks across the pond in the UK.
Oh.
With A-lister creative team in place and Ben Stiller in talks to play the role of Craze haunted dad Jack Torrance.
Mark, aren't you from England?
Yes, I believe so.
I think he is.
Oh, Zoolander. Okay, I'll grant you Zoolander. I do kind of forget that one on occasion, but it's
Oh, do you?
still no Mystery Men. I haven't seen Zoolander though, probably since it came out. That's been a long time since I watched that one.
Carol says she wants to play her a musical, but just not with Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Also, Robert's here in the chat, and he says Dark Tower for 800. Dark Tower Jeopardy would be awesome. Who kills the sheriff, for example?
Yeah.
That's
I gotta get speedier on that. I'm actually reading, not just listening, but I'm reading the series for the sole purpose of my goal is to have a Dark Tower trivia thing for the year-end bash here at the end of 2020.
okay. I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't know if I could or
No,
not.
I think we've already kind of.
I just couldn't remember if
Yeah.
we had or not.
Yeah.
So yes, Robert, we are doing a trivia contest at the year-end bash for you, the fans, not for me.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be involved.
Peter can't be involved. I'm going to even get a buzzer and a dinger, so I can get the right and wrong.
I'm going to be
answers.
the one. You know what we should do? I should have the answers.
You could be
written
Vanna
down.
White.
I'll be Vanna White, and I'll hold up the answers and announce them. You'll be the guy who reads the questions, and I give the answers for them.
No, because Vanna White's. I almost said Pat Sajak, but he is the one on Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're doing, obviously. Yes, so let's go on with,
right.
with this article here. Rehearsals are set to begin in the fall with a London performance targeted for January 2023, and an eventual move to Broadway is expected. Deadline first reported about the planned stage adaptation in 2017, and plans for a West End staging continue to pace thereafter until the COVID pandemic shut everything down in 2020. With the return to live theater, the project is back on track with Stiller expected to take the role of Jack Nicholson that Jack Nicholson played in the 1980 film adaptation. Sources say the stage play of The Shining will adhere more closely to King's 1977 book than Stanley Kubrick's film.
Oh.
Which in addition to Nicholson starred Shelley Duvall as Wendy Torrance and Danny Lloyd as Danny Torrance. So the production would mark Van Hove's latest high-profile stage work following 2020's experimental rework of the Broadway musical West Side Stories and his 2019 Broadway staging of The Network, or of Network, starring Tony-winning Bryan Cranston as the anchorman Howard Beale. Van Hove also directed a 2019 West End adaptation of the 1950s Hollywood classic All About Eve, starring Gillian Anderson and Lily James.
Wow.
That sounds great, because I love Gillian Anderson. And Lily James is one of the most charming people I've ever seen. I want her in everything.
I know her that name.
If you've watched Darkest Hour with Churchill, the Gary Oldman Churchill.
No.
You haven't watched that?
No.
My God. You have to watch
Dude, we're
that.
finding out that I haven't watched a lot of movies this last week. You got really
She-
mad at me the other day about horror movies.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Gary's a Oscar-winning role. You haven't watched it.
No, I haven't
Interesting.
I haven't had the chance.
Interesting. Yes. So she's great though. Additional casting and production timelines for The Shining will be announced further down the road. An eventual Broadway stand wouldn't be Stiller's first. In 2011, he starred in the Broadway revival of John Guar's House of Blue Leaves opposite Edie Falco and Jennifer Jason Leigh. Stiller has played a supporting role in the original 1986 Broadway production of the same play. Nor would The Shining be Stiller's first brush with King. In 2020, Stiller optioned the rights to King's novella Rat, with the intentions of producing, directing, and starring in a feature film version. Rat tells the story of a frustrated writer who, in an apparent delirium, strikes a Faustian bargain with a rat to alleviate writer's block, only to discover later that maybe he wasn't so delirious after all.
Yeah.
So I forgot about that actually until this mentioned it. I kind of lost sight of that for a bit.
Yeah.
Because that seemed kind of random for that too. But I guess I can see that. But yeah, him as Jack Torrance, that'll be an interesting turn. So
Robert says he cool, loves the idea of the trivia, but doesn't think he'll be good at it. Robert, come on. You just got one right there handed to you. Who killed the sheriff in Wizard of Glass?
And that cannot be sung as Who Shot the Sheriff.
I shot the sheriff. Carol says, Broadway, good luck seeing it. Mike says he would love to see a stage version of the Topiaries. The Topiaries would be an interesting thing to have to be done. I mean, we've both been involved with play productions. And,
Yeah.
Topiaries, that's going to be an interesting costume for one or more people if you're doing like a lion.
Yeah.
Or like, do you do just like a picture that
You just do like those stupid, like the horse thing with the two people that go the front and the back end, but you just make it like super poofy looking, so they look like
a bush.
Yeah, so they look like a topiary. That's probably what I would do. But
Yeah, Mike, you got the... No, Mark has the chance, not Mike. Sorry, I
Yeah.
mixed you two up, Mike. Wrong end
how
name.
dare you?
I know.
I did look up again the Colorado thing. I'm just waiting for them to announce
I
another
hope
run, man.
Dude, if it does, we're going.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about that.
We'll record our show from the freaking hotel, just audio,
yeah,
like that.
yeah, that would be something. Taking the whole show on the road, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
So this next one is a little bit surprising, and I'm glad.
More surprising than Ben Stiller playing Jack Torrance?
Actually, I'm going to take that back. Maybe not surprising, because there has been some speculation, as well as me, jumping on the desk and jumping up and down saying, I want this.
Uh-oh.
It prequel series.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding
is
me?
in the works at HBO Max.
Holy shit.
So, yeah, I've been talking about this for a while that
Dude,
I would
you've been
love.
talking about this for years.
Ever since the end of 2019, when that last movie came out, I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, there's so much stuff in the book about the history of Pennywise that you could easily do another movie, easily, And I think I even mentioned at one point saying maybe even a series.
Yeah.
So, because it's just there's ample stuff there. I mean, it's not all spelled out in the same way. Like there would have to be some. Like growing of the like cool King gives you one little story that you'd have to build a lot more around that to make it an actual movie or episode or something, but this is pretty crazy. So this is by Joe Otterson from Variety on March 29th 2022, and it says a prequel to It is in development at HBO Max. Variety has learned from sources the series, currently called Welcome to Derry, will begin in 1960s in the timeline leading to the events of It Part 1, the 2017 film based on Stephen King's horror novel, which means that would be 20-something years before, because that was set in the 80s. The story is also said to include the origin of Pennywise the Clown, which would obviously go further back than just 1960.
Which makes you wonder, are they going to stick true to the book and have it be like, the comet striking during the dinosaurs? Which, I don't know if we've ever talked about this. Do you believe that that's the comet that killed the dinosaurs?
I mean, maybe. I've never thought about it.
I honestly have. I've always thought about that. That was that what killed the dinosaurs? Because they talk about it when Mike and Ben go back to when, I think is what they say.
Yeah.
Or ago. No, ago.
Ago, yeah.
That's what it is. When they go back to ago, is that this is like the time of dinosaurs, like the ferns and everything like that. Just scream like Jurassic Park kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then a comet comes and hits, and it's it coming. Is that what killed it killed the dinosaurs?
All you're doing is making Pennywise more of a monster.
Right?
If he killed all the dinosaurs.
Like, think about that. A planet-killing asteroid is not actually an asteroid. It's an interdimensional being. Pennywise crashing to Earth.
And does the comet wipe them all out, or does Pennywise feed
Num, num, num.
on dinosaurs?
Dinosaur meat is tasty.
Maybe. So Andy Muschietti, who directed It Part 1 and 2019's It Part 2, I think they say Chapter 2. And I don't know, have they ever actually retitled the first one? I know everyone just tends to then say It Chapter 1, but that was never the title. It was just It, and then you have It Chapter 2. And I know everyone would want to just say then It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, but I don't know if they ever actually retroactively retitled the first movie. So Muschietti
It's just listed as It.
Yeah.
IMDb, Wikipedia, YouTube, if you want to buy it, Rotten Tomatoes, it just says It.
Yeah, that's what it should be. So Muschietti is attached as executive producer of the series, along with Barbara Muschietti and Jason Fuchs. And then one thing I'll mention is executive producer in film means very little. A lot of times that could be almost nothing.
Yeah.
Usually it's just putting their name on it to get some kind of thing. In television, though, executive producers are a big deal. Those are a lot of times the people that are actually kind of steering the ship from the larger perspective. So that's
They hire the executive producers can be involved with hiring
creative everything.
creative decisions, but also
Yeah.
hiring a showrunner,
Yeah.
executive producer. You're the showrunner. You actually do like the actual like planning. Okay,
Yeah.
so and so is going to direct.
But
this
they answer to the
episode,
executive
this
producer.
episode,
In film,
and they have to bring everything to the executive producer.
yeah. In film, executive producer is kind of a bullshit title in a lot of ways. Sometimes they may have something to do with it, but a lot of times they don't. But television's a whole lot different. According to sources, Muschietti and Fausch are developing the story for the show with Fouche, I don't know how you say his name, writing the script. Andy would also direct the first episode should the project go to series. The A Writers Room is now open. Warner Brothers Television is the studio behind the project, with the Warner Brothers having produced the two films. So the thing I have to ask there
Okay.
is this is 20 years or so earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to get Bill back?
He's pretty busy right now, from what I hear.
I mean, kind of, yeah. And a
That's-
television show is a huge
it's a lot.
commitment. So
Is it going to be a long television show? Is it going to be a miniseries? You know, we
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
It
Yeah.
just says prequel series.
yeah,
But I mean,
you have to though, right?
You have
to.
You would have to. But we just talked about this the other day. I mean, Skarsgård just got pegged to play
The Crow,
Eric
Draven.
Draven in a Crow reboot.
Yeah.
So,
But a movie, that's a small thing, and that I don't know. It depends on how. This sounds like this is an early production, so that I don't think one precludes the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would think you have to get him though, man. Like that would be
With how
that'd
good
be a
he was,
Yeah, that'd be a
yeah.
killer if this was going to be basically an extension of that those two movies.
And then you don't have Pennywise cast as Pennywise.
the same guy. Yeah, that would be that would be terrible in my mind. So
Yeah.
I think that they got to do everything they can to get him, and I'm glad that Andy Muschietti's involved. That would probably keep the door open for hopefully old Billy Boy
yeah.
coming on back. And
Nice reunion to come back and work together again. Mike says it can't be. The crater would be bigger than Maine. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. If the asteroid was, just the impact is what killed them.
yeah,
Or if it brought something with them, like a disease or something, that could also be it. Because that's something I've also heard with dinosaurs. And then Mike says, how will the Discovery merger affect this?
So, from what I understand, and maybe I need to read more into this, as I understand it, though, the Discovery merger is actually a merger, and it's not one company buying the other. So, I don't know that a lot of this should change a lot of creative stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I mean,
Isn't Discovery just getting bought by Warner?
no, I don't think. I think it's a complete
Oh.
merger. So, like, Discovery's not buying Warner. I don't, as far as I understand, and Warner's not buying Discovery. They're merging, so it's kind of an equal type thing. But ultimately, yes, there is maybe an element of that could be, I guess, a danger. But the thing I would say though is that the two It movies made a couple $2 billion. So I find it hard to believe that this would be in a lot of danger unless a subpar product is turned in. But what do you think?
I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously the bigger It fan.
I'm curious if they're going to get Skarsgård. If they get Skarsgård, I'm on board. If they don't, I'm hesitant because Skarsgård was brilliant.
Yeah, he
Pennywise.
really was.
I don't know how I'm going to watch it though because clowns aren't allowed in my house. That's disturbing.
I mean, you'll just have to stay up late or something.
Oh, see, that's the problem. Is she stays up later than I do. We work early. She doesn't. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to come over here and watch it.
I'm excited though. I think this is pretty cool. And like I said, I've been talking about wanting this for a while.
Yeah.
I think there's ample stuff just in the novels themselves. Not to mention, I mean, dude, they're doing Pet Sematary, and Pet Sematary has a lot less to go off of in the novel than It does. So I think if they can do that, and It one should be an easy thing. I'm a little bit worried about the whole thing that it's 1960s. I mean, I get that it's probably be a hell of a lot cheaper to make something that's just set in the 60s versus something that may jump timelines and go into like the colonial times and then the 1800s and then, whatever. Potentially have a series that kind of moves throughout the centuries. Like that'd be really expensive in terms of, set design, costumes, everything involved. But God, I would rather have that in a lot of ways. Like,
Mark says in the chat, Mark C, not Mark M. I really wish they had just gone this route from the beginning. I don't know if you could go this route from the beginning of It.
no, I think you kind of had to do
You
the
have
movies.
you have to do like the story first before.
Yeah. I mean,
You know?
I think so, just because it's so iconic. I think that this is hard to do. I do think that this article also mentioned, and I cut it out, the fact that HBO has been doing this a lot recently. They've got some stuff from the Batman movie that just came out that's being made to series.
Yep.
The Dune movie with Denis Villeneuve is got some kind of spin-off thing happening on HBO Max as well.
Yeah.
It seems like that is kind of one of their strategies right now, is some of their big Warner Brothers properties then getting television something versions
Well,
on
they
HBO
even-
Max. So
they even did not directly related stuff. They've even done the Suicide Squad. We had and Harley Quinn's movie. We had a Harley Quinn animated series.
yeah,
And then on top of that, Gotham Knights is a new video game that's coming out this year. It's this October, which is the story of Batgirl, Robin, Red Hood, and Nightwing. If Bruce Wayne dies, like what do they do if that dies and they have to protect the city? Then they're making a series out of that as well. They're doing a live action series of that. Someone just got cast as Two-Face for that. I just got a notification for that just a couple of days ago, and I'm excited because it was someone I know from Supernatural. But yeah, I see what you mean. It's kind of like a existing property. Let's expand on
let's
it.
do something
Existing
bigger.
property.
Yeah.
Let's
and,
expand
I
on
mean,
it
if you're
somehow.
Warner Brothers, you have to look at that couple $1 billion that these two It movies have made, and you probably got to see that this is a very, very lucrative property in a lot of this. Which, again, I know that's a shitty way to look at it
Yeah.
for a lot of us because we're a little bit more interested in the creative side. But I look at it as a means to an end. Like, cool, yeah, if it being lucrative is what makes them do this series, and it gets me more
Right.
content for it, then I'm all about it. So,
Right.
but 1960s, yeah, that should be interesting to see what they'll do with that. I'm kind of hoping that maybe it'll be set in the 60s, but you'll kind of dive into the history, which kind of sucks because that's
I
just
wonder if
Mike's
you-
portion of the shit that got shafted in the
Yeah.
movies.
I wonder if you'll get someone who's doing research on dairy
Yeah.
and stumble across
Mike's
wow,
dad,
every-
maybe?
Every 27 years we have a slaughter.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
That's kind of interesting. You know, what? Well,
Yeah.
let me, oh my God, it happened again 27 years
We
ago.
got to have that.
And it happened again.
Got to have that egg rolling
yeah.
thing, right? Yeah, you got, that'd be a fun scene to watch on screen, don't you think?
Yeah.
Not really, of course, but
No.
yes. So yeah, well, that looks like a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and look at our big board here. Added, welcome to Derry.
You added the balloon and everything.
To the TV section. So yes, I did also put a balloon. Why not? Seemed like the thing to do.
we all float down here.
Let's see. And then Carol says it has a better chance than the Dark Tower ever did. Yeah, and ultimately, I think it is always going to, even the two movies, like it's easier to distill it into a movie than it is Dark Tower. So, and then this, though, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I do hope that at some point someone gives Mr. Mike Flanagan a shot. Not Netflix, though. I don't trust them.
Robert's right. Flanagan will make a Dark Tower eventually. All the success he's had, and it's his dream script and story. I mean,
Yeah, I just don't want it on Netflix, man. They're icing more shows. Seems
Yeah.
like 3 seasons, they cancel everything after that. So do not do Netflix, Mike. I know you're all in bed with them and stuff, but don't do that for Dark Tower.
let's move away.
Because they just canceled something recently. I've been seeing a lot. I think even King mentioned some disappointment in some of the stuff. Oh, I think they canceled Lock and Key, which is
Oh, really?
which is his Joe Hill's property.
Oh, bummer.
So after the 3rd season, it seems like they're that's like kind of their MO. Is they'll
I
do
forgot
one.
that we were getting a TV show for Billy Summers. I just read that book again.
Yeah. So yeah, that's no Netflix. Let's get let's hopefully this is maybe another step along the path of the beam to get us to a Dark Tower series done by Mr. Flanagan. That would be the most ideal in my mind.
Yeah.
Let's see. Carol says I can only hope, Robert. I has another birthday present this week. They need to hurry up. I mean, yeah, that would be the ultimate thing, and I would love to. I was actually worried about this one though, of you hearing about it somehow. Just it didn't go as
really?
it didn't go as wide news as it may have, but I just thought that it is just so fucking big that it's just like
No, dude.
I was kind of worried that this would somehow.
I got my
get to
head
you.
buried so far in the sand, I ain't hearing shit.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited though. Should be fun. So the next one here, welcome to Dairies. What I put it down as. I think that's a good title for it too.
Yeah.
Hopefully it sticks as that. But yeah, so that's our list now. Firestarter's coming out pretty soon, next month, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. May.
So only a month away from Firestarter.
Woo!
Salem's Lot later in September. And yeah, we got, we'll hopefully get some more updates on some of these other shows. Is that where you meant from Billy Summers? I
Yeah.
thought somebody mentioned in the chat.
No, Billy Summers. I reread Billy Summers after I read not Revel. I'm looking at Revelations here on the list. It's not Revelations. Revival.
Revival, yeah.
I finished Revival, and then I was like, man, I really do. I think I'm going to go read Billy Summers again. I only read it that one time, and it was really good. And we've been talking a little bit about it. And I'm like, I'm going to go listen to it again. I threw it on. Dude, I listened to it in a week. Like I just couldn't. I couldn't stop. Like sometimes I'll take a break and listen to music or listen to a podcast or something, or not listen to anything at all. That happened a couple times.
Yeah.
While I was listening to Revival, but man, Billy Summers, I put it on. And I was just like,
that's why I was.
Cruised.
That's the way I was with Later. I went through that one so fast the first time. So
I think after I finish Everything's Eventual, I might either do Later or I might do It.
Yeah.
I also, oh man, I went to my Audible and I sorted by most recent listen to.
Yeah.
And I went down to the bottom just to see what was like furthest back. Dude, I haven't listened to The Stand or Doctor Sleep for 4 years.
Dr. Sleep is, I think, at the very bottom of my list. I just did that very...
Is it really?
I did the same thing not too long ago, and I believe that is... I mean, I had a few other things.
Yeah.
But like Stephen King-wise, the
Stephen
furthest
King,
one
yeah.
down... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Misery is the
Misery.
lowest. Yeah, Misery, and then Dr. Sleep is down there as well. So, yeah, it's been a while for that one. 11/22/63 is also pretty low on that list, which is unfortunate. I need to get back to that one again at some point because I really love that book. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So this next one's pretty fun. And then let's see, Robert said the narrator for Later made that story for me. Yeah, I love that one. That really got me going. Carol says, when is Talisman due? Finishing up again now. And that one I'm not sure. That one just got I think it was a Dark Tower subreddit posted something about the announcement for the Talisman, but it was March when they posted it, but they didn't realize it was March 2021, the article they were posting. It's like, dude, that was a year ago. There's been no fucking news since then, so I have no idea. I mean, I guess we've already waited 30-something years, so
We'll just keep waiting.
let's keep waiting. Hopefully it's getting worked on, though. So this next one, The Mist's opening scene nearly spoiled its biggest mystery.
Really?
So this is from Eric Vespi, and he wrote this at Slash Film on March 29th, 2022, but this is Eric Vespi that is one half of the Kingcast. So this is a fun little write-up here. Somebody quoting Wolf in the chat there.
Wolf.
I definitely didn't see him getting iced as quick as he did.
Yeah.
I expected him to last a lot longer than he did. When that happened, I'm like, what the fuck was that?
That's King for you.
Yeah, I mean, oh man, I was like, come on, at least Oi made it to the final reel
Aw,
there
dude.
before he got
Come on.
impaled on a tree.
Hashtag Tad is terrible. That's our runner-up right there. You show some respect.
Oh
Not
man,
like Flag even made the semifinals.
no, I'm not talking the finals. I'm just talking the actual, like, if
No,
the
I know what you're talking about. I'm saying you show some respect for Oi. Oi the Brave.
Oh man. So yeah, so Eric wrote this up, and I thought this was a fascinating read. And he says, it starts off, he says, Frank Darabont's The Mist opens with a moody tracking shot showing its lead character, David Drayton, hard at work painting an untitled Western movie poster, a slide nod to Stephen King's Dark Tower books. As the storm rages outside, old-timey music plays in the background. The walls are filled with Drayton's artwork, which just so happened to all be painted by legendary poster artist Drew Struzan. Legend, absolutely, one of my favorites. It's an oddly calming opening. The storm intensifies, the lights go out, window breaks. The next morning, we see the aftermath of the storm as a mysterious mist slowly works its way across the lake. This opening is a tone setter, one that fills the viewers with a sense of impending doom right off the bat, but it's not how the movie originally was planned to begin. In the original scripted opening of the movie, we saw exactly where the titular mist came from.
Oh.
So, this is an interesting story here. So he says, not long after the initial... so he met Frank Darabont, and Frank Darabont knew him because the website he was writing for, Frank was a fan of, so they got to talking and stuff.
Sure.
And then he says, not long after the initial meeting, a package showed up at my doorstep. It was a hardbound copy of the script for The Mist, with a note that let him know, with a note to let him know what I thought. And so this is before the actual movie ever was anywhere close. That script is largely what we ended up seeing a couple years later when we finally got The Mist, when it finally got made, including the very polarizing ending. What did change was the opening, and thanks to Darabont graciously sending me a copy of many moons ago, I can tell you exactly what was planned. The original opening, as scripted, would have evoked a totally different feel. We see the storm coming from a different perspective. The script opens within the walls of the Arrowhead Project, a military installation that is spoken about in the film as being a possible origin for the mist concealing tentacle monstrosities. That's a fun turn of phrase.
Yeah.
Well, the original opening would have told you right up front exactly where the mist came from. Military scientists are running an experiment in the lab as the storm rages outside. Darabont describes banks of videos and wave spectrum cameras images training on a chamber with a thick glass window. The scientists talk nervously about the storm, but push ahead anyway. With a few keystrokes and a flip of a switch, the experiment is underway, opening what is described as a pinhole of light. Quote, like a spotlight being shined through a keyhole. Inside this room, the pinhole of light grows bigger and bigger until it is a portal shining light out on all sides, and the scientists watch in awe. At this point, lightning strikes the base, sending a surge of power that ends up feeding into the experiment. With the increased power, the portal opens even larger, and things start moving in the mist, emanating from the thing. The scientists look on as the mist envelops the room. The glass separating them begins to crack, and spider webs explode before exploding outwards, dooming the poor scientists on the other side.
Oh.
This was the original opening. It was supposed to then transition from there to David Drayton painting, and then the lights going out. The decision was made to axe the opening, and I have a little insight into that. What do you just stopping there because there's more to this story? But what do you think of that? Like if we had seen that,
I mean, I wouldn't have minded. That's fascinating to see inside the Arrowhead Project because you don't ever see that in the story. So just kind of like world building kind of thing, like, oh, that's how they did it. You know, that's it actually was from that and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of all knew with how they talked about the Arrowhead Project. It was so super secret and everything like that. It's like, yeah, okay, you got to know that something went wrong.
Yeah.
But to see it, that would be really cool.
Okay, because I'm the opposite. I think it's fucking terrible.
Yeah?
Like, I think it ruins everything about the movie in my mind. Because it's, you know me, man, like Michael Myers. Like, why is Michael Myers scary? Because you don't know anything about him. He's just an escape mental patient. You know, he becomes less scary down the road when you start explaining shit around and stuff with cults and, you know, druid symbols and sisters and all this shit. It ruins it all. So for me, I'm about mystery. So, and it's fine. It's different for everyone. Usually I'm into world building stuff, but I think for me, it just tips the hand way too soon on this. And I just think that the way the movie plays is perfect. Just seeing that mist come, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if you haven't seen the trailers, especially, like it's a complete fucking mystery what's going to happen. So for me, and that's, this is art, so it's subjective. Everything's, you know, whatever. There's going to probably be people on your side as well. But for me, I'm just like, God, I'm so glad this change happened. And then it says, on the DVD commentary track, Darabont credits the decision to cut the scripted opening to a meal he had with Andre Brower, so Captain Holt.
Okay.
So thank God for Captain Holt here,
yeah.
from my perspective, who playing the crabby neighbor, Brent Norton in the movie. Darabont says Brower asked him if he thought he needed that opening, and he hadn't really given it much thought. But within days of the conversation, he had decided to cut it. So,
I mean, I absolutely you shift the tone of the movie if you keep that opening. If you have that opening, then it's more of a we know, and it's frustrating that other people don't understand, But with The Mist, instead of having that opening when you axe it and you don't have it, now it's a what the fuck is going on here movie. Yeah. Which is
I think it's scarier.
There's two different venues there. There's the frustrating emotional movie.
Yeah.
And then there's the terrifying what the hell's going on? Oh my God, are these people gonna survive? Oh, I'm so invested, you know, that kind of that feeling.
Yeah. And I guess that's just it for me. Like, I just think it's so much scarier the way that we saw it.
Yeah.
That I'm just, for me, I'm all about it being cut. But then it says, now I spent, because this is Vespi again, he says, now I spent a little over a week on the set of this movie. I went to Louisiana, the Louisiana location, expecting to write a little set visit report, and ended up doing a whole series of reports over multiple days of shooting. Darabont gave me an amazing amount of freedom to take my own photos, interact with the cast and crew, and even sat me directly behind him at the monitors. As a movie fan and a massive Stephen King nerd, I was in hog heaven. He says, one day I was there and I was sitting behind Darabont and his producer, Denise Huth, were talking about the end of the movie. It turns out most of the crew and even some of the cast weren't given copies of the script with the brutal ending in it. I assumed as a mean to keep it from leaking early, but Darabont knew that I had read it a couple years before. So he turned to me and says, you know the ending, you know the original story. So let me ask you something. And he says, my memory is that he really wanted to get more military vehicles and tanks in for the final reveal of humanity's push against the Mist, but the budget just wouldn't allow it. They'd have to lose something from the shooting schedule in order to afford it. So basically, if they don't cut something, there's no tanks. So it says this is the gut punch, the final twist of the knife, and it's really important that really important to Darabont that we see the full might of humanity's response that would have saved our poor survivors, or would have been our poor survivors' salvation if they had just waited a few more minutes. Darabont said to me, "You know the short story, you've read the script. What do you think about my opening? Can we lose it?" He says, my response was that he absolutely could lose it, and if he did, it would be more like the original King story. We don't need an origin story for the Mist and the monsters it conceals. In fact, it's the more mysterious it is, the more scary it will be. He says, I'm sure I didn't relay it that elegantly as I was able to write it just now from the comfort of my living room with time to formulate my opinion as clearly as possible, but the gist was the same. However it came out, Darabont responded to it immediately. He smiled really big and exclaimed to Huth, that settles it. The beginning is out. So
Wow.
That's the end of the highlight of what he has there. So yeah, just not only kind of a glimpse at what the original intro for the movie would have been, but it sounds like he was on set and maybe was at least part of the conversation even of breaking a tie as to whether because like if they didn't cut that beginning, there wouldn't have been any tanks or military. They wouldn't have had the budget for that stuff.
So that changes my opinion of it then, is that if we have that intro, we don't have that ending. No,
we don't have the tanks and stuff like
No.
yeah.
We don't have that ending.
It probably would have just been people in like uniforms with like flamethrowers. There wouldn't have been tanks, basically.
Yeah.
It's most likely would have been. 'Cause you probably could have afforded, some surplus uniforms or whatever. But
yeah, I'm telling you right now, that flips my opinion completely 180 on its head and everything like that. Absolutely no. Cut that ending. That ending shit. If we lose that the beginning.
Yeah.
If we lose that ending with the tanks and the transports and everything like that.
Yeah.
That is what makes that missed ending.
Yeah.
One of the greatest in cinema history.
oh yeah, absolutely. That's why it's still talked about today. Anything I missed in the chat here?
Carol told a story about how when she saw the movie The Mist, she saw the portrait of Roland. He was painting and fangirled out, and people had to hush me as I was telling my husband what it meant. Nobody cared. Robert says that painting is worth so much money. Funny story, Carol. One of those times you need a Dark Tower fan next to you, but like me, there aren't many around. And Carol says, Robert, my husband had no clue what I was talking about. There were none in the theater except me that night. That's why I love Dark Tower Palaver. And Robert says, oh yeah, Carol, that's why we love this podcast. I love hearing that. I love being able
I
to be
geeked
the
out.
outsource.
I geeked out in the theaters for that.
And I didn't see it in theaters. You lent me your copy, and I watched it, and I was like, holy shit, that's Roland!
Yeah. And Robert is correct. I've actually looked a few times. I don't know if it's the original from the movie, but on Drew Struzan's website, there's a print of that for sale, but it's $20,000.
Is it really?
That's why it makes me think it might actually be the original from that movie. If not, it's maybe a hand-painted duplicate or something. So, yeah, $20,000. So, if I ever win the lottery, I will maybe buy that from Mr. Drew Struzan. But, yeah, it is a spendy piece for sure. This makes me want to watch The Mist again. That's a fun movie.
Right?
That is a fun movie.
But not watch the show.
Oh God, no. Sentient Mist. I had forgotten about Sentient Mist. Thanks for bringing that back up and reminding us all of such things.
I hate it so much.
And you haven't even seen a frame of it.
I haven't seen a single frame of it, and I never will.
I almost watched it at one point. I'm really glad I didn't, and I'm glad that we were eventually able to cover all of that, so that I know I should never waste my time. Because there was one point that I was just like, oh my God, a series, dude, like they can get into the Arrowhead stuff. They could expand the universe more. Because again, like I don't really like it for the context of the movie, but if you were going to give me another version of it, at that point I'd probably be okay with you.
Yeah, then you do the world building.
Yeah, do the world building then, because you're probably not going to do Darabont's ending anyway. So maybe whatever. Yeah, So that's what I had in my head was like all these thoughts of like, maybe more the Arrowhead Project, maybe like some idea of what that other world looks like, or on and on and on. I had all these hopes and dreams, and then we covered it, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't freaking waste my time on that show.
Carol just put out a request that we do a commentary on The Mist.
That'd be fun.
I'm down.
Mrs. Carmody.
Oh, I didn't even think about that bitch. Oh.
I need to have a slide with Mrs. Carmody that I could just push a button and then she pops up on the screen.
No. Or a soundbite from her. Get the child.
Yeah.
Grab the boy.
Blood sacrifice, expiation, all kinds of fun things we could have her say.
Yeah, Miss Commentary track would be cool, is what Carol says.
Carol, thank you for that recommendation. I've been saying for months, and I'm going to make Peter watch that at some point with me. So, commentary is a perfect excuse to force Peter into it, because, Peter's not a big fan of Mrs. Carmody.
I hate her a lot. Like a lot. Like, if I'm in a room with her and Hitler, and I have a gun with one bullet, I'm going to shoot her and then beat her to death with the gun.
Yeah, she got you real good. I wish I would have watched that with you the first time instead of just lending it to you, because I would have loved to have seen. Because you get fuming.
I do.
Like when characters really get to you, and that one, from what you've told me, you were over the edge with anger with her. So yes, that'll be a fun commentary. That Carol, thank you for that. I'm almost certain that'll happen this year at some point. That'll be more. That's more on the Patreon side. We don't have enough episodes to do commentaries and stuff without losing full episodes. So, but yes, on the Patreon side, we'll definitely have a missed watch or like commentary.
Wow.
So Peter can, so we can all revel in Mrs. Carmody with Peter and enjoy it there. So
Robert says, I don't know which was worse, the televised dome or The Mist. They were awful. And Mike responds and says, Robert, yes. They were both.
I watched
terrible.
the first season of Under the Dome, man. I enjoyed that book.
stopped.
I really did, man.
Yeah.
And I tried with that one, man. And I tried, and I think I got just to the end of the first season. I can't fucking do
I
this,
stopped
man.
halfway through the first season. I didn't even make it that far. I got to the butterflies and I went, all right, I'm done.
It was, and I've blocked most of it out of my memory. I
just remember there being butterflies, and I'm like, butterflies, really? I'm out.
I remember just recently I was looking up someone, and it said that they were in Under the Dome, and I'm like, my God, they were? Because I've just completely blanked it all. I know Hank from Breaking Bad is the main bad guy, but beyond that, I don't think I remember a single person from that actor-wise. So, yeah.
Robert says the first season was the best, and the bar is really low.
Mark says half of the first episode, and I tapped out. Yeah, that's. I think I remember from the beginning just feeling like this doesn't really feel right. And but I was just like, give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll keep watching. I love the book, so it's got to get better. And at the end of the first season, I was just like, nope.
I've actually not gone back to the book simply because of how bad the miniseries was, which is not fair.
Yeah,
because the book was brilliant.
Yeah, I read that one pretty fucking fast for as big as it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't put that one down because I just wanted to know, how it all turns out.
Yeah,
whatever. That was well written. I do have to revisit that one at some point. That's probably been before this podcast because I don't think I have that on Audible. I think that was back in the day when I was doing on Apple or whatever else. I don't even think I own.
Boy, do I have that on Audible?
I'm
gonna go look.
It would have been when it first got published. Or no, actually, I had the hardcover. Now that you did, I don't think I ever even done the audiobook. So, that's a thick one. That's the hardcover. You can kill somebody with that thing.
I do have it on audiobook.
Oh, so I have a slight tangent, and I'm gonna have to like get this maybe linked to like put it in the show notes.
All right.
I share it on my private social media, but there's this YouTube channel I watch where they're just like special effects people, and I've found them in the past where they'll like look at something maybe bad and then see what they can do in their own personal whatever.
They fixed an explosion in a movie.
They did the Scorpion King at one point where they were just like, okay, this is the best Hollywood could do in like the early 2000s. What could we do with basically consumer grade equipment, maybe a little bit above that, but they're nowhere near. They're not Hollywood level, whatever. And then they're just but they always do time limits and say like a day or whatever, and then they fix it. So I found one. They popped up on my algorithm, and they were like they had went bowling and they saw the little animations up on the screen that they always do for different. There's animations for splits and strikes, and they were just like, "What if we did this, but it was offensive?" And of course, I clicked the video as quick as I could.
Yeah, because that's offending people is like your bread and butter.
And one of them was like, I think it was from like House of Cards or something, but it was the pin is up on in the subway, and the bowling ball's like lurking behind a post, and then it runs out and hits the pin in front of the train.
Oh my God.
The train runs it over, and I'm like, Dark Tower. And then someone's like, oh yeah, it's right from House of Cards. I'm like, no, that's Dark Tower. That's the pusher.
Yeah.
But then like the ball like looks at the camera. Like the whole thing's hilarious, but that one portion of it was hilarious to me because it was like, oh man, very Dark Tower-esque. And I guess House of Cards must have done the old Jack Mort, apparently.
Oh, did they?
And someone pushes someone in front of a subway. So,
Oh boy.
yeah. I've never watched House of Cards. That wasn't that Netflix's first big hit.
One of them, right?
I think that may have. There was that one and the prison one. I thought were the two big.
Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, those are the two biggest ones on Netflix. That
Yeah.
was years ago now, but yeah. Apparently that was something that happened there. But I didn't get the impression the person survived that got pushed in the front of the train. Unlike Susanna, that does in fact survive.
Yeah.
So, but I just had to mention it. It's a tangent, but it definitely reminded me of Dark Tower, just having a bowling ball knock a pin in front of a subway. Oh man, because I was thinking to myself the Under the Dome book, the hardcover. I was thinking to myself that would be quite the hefty weapon to throw off of a building at someone. And then that of course reminded me of Jack Mort, which then reminded me of the bowling pins. So
Right.
because if Jack Mort threw Under the Dome at someone, that would equally brain them as much as a brick would.
Oh yeah.
That's a
Robert asks in the chat, I gotta get into the Patreon. Can I watch past episodes, or do I have to be live to watch?
yeah. We post everything that you can watch. Everything that's on there.
No,
there-
on Patreon.
on Patreon.
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, Patreon is its own website where we can post things exclusively for our Patreon members. So when we do a hangout, we do post it on there, and it stays up.
Yeah, it does happen. Even if we do something that's live with everyone, we'll record it and post the recording and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's always accessible if you're not able to make it. Because it's
For-
definitely tough. We got people all over the
Yeah.
world with different time zones.
yeah.
We got different days of the week and stuff. So it's always
And
tough to
we-
get people together.
And our recording time window is pretty limited for us for our schedules to match up and everything like that.
Yeah.
Even though we're back working at the same company again, which is awesome having the same days off with you because
Yeah.
last week when we wanted to do the reaction video, you're like, hey, reaction video Friday? Yep. Lunch first? Yep. And then we went and got lunch and then came back and did the reaction video. So it's really nice with that. But with the Patreon, yeah, Robert, if you join the Patreon right now, you actually can go watch the Firestarter commentary that we did
Yeah.
on there a couple months
With
ago.
the greatest karate chop in film history.
Huta!
With George C. Scott
So weird.
playing Rainbird.
So bad.
At least they didn't do red face with him though.
Yeah.
Let's at least thank God for small favors.
They did that with someone. I walked into.
They did it with Genghis Khan with freaking John Wayne.
That's what.
Yeah.
No, that's one. But no, I walked into my dad's house the other day. My daughter wanted to go over there and hang out with him on spring break.
Yeah.
And I walked in. He's watching a John Wayne, not a John Wayne movie. He's watching a Western movie that felt like John Wayne, but it didn't have John Wayne in it.
Yeah.
And there was some guy playing. He's a famous Native American. I can't remember his name. I want to say Tonto, but that's not it. And it's like a white dude wearing like face paint, and it's color.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to go that far back. I mean, there's Office episodes and 30 Rock episodes that they've pulled off of streaming services because of blackface and stuff. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, the episode of The Office is the Christmas one where Dwight's doing the German, like Krampus thing.
Yeah.
And then someone starts to Google it and they find Black Pete, his whatever. And he's like, and Dwight's like, oh no, I'm not doing that. And then you see him texting very slyly, and then you see his Mose walking in blackface, and then he turns around and leaves. So yeah, they've edited or they've gotten rid of all that stuff. So yeah, all I'm saying is it isn't just the old days. There's some very modern things that unfortunately fell into that shit. Not good. So next up, this is an interesting one. Catherine Winnick looks back on the Dark Tower and the challenges of making the film. So haven't talked about the Dark Tower movie in any kind of way like this for a while. But this is by Perry Nemiroff from Collider on April 4th, 2022. And this is it says on Collider's Ladies Night, we often cover bumps in the road in an effort to highlight how creators overcame them. So when Catherine Winnick joined us for the episode in celebration of Big Sky Season 2, we took a moment to look back on the experiences playing Jake's mother, Lori, in the Dark Tower. Here's what she said when asked if the reported creative differences impacted her experiences on set. This is a quote, Dark Tower was a very challenging project. I think it has a lot to do with where we were shooting too. We shot in South Africa, and there were crew issues and budget issues, and what exactly it was going to be. Obviously, with an incredible cast like Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba, you would expect it to be a slam dunk, but sometimes it's just not executed right in terms of budgeting for visual effects and how to tell the story in a certain way. You can get into a little bit of trouble that way. So that's definitely interesting. I don't think we've ever heard about there being crew issues and stuff before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then obviously budgeting. I don't know. I think they did a pretty good job of hiding a lot of budgeting issues. I don't think there was ever times I thought, oh, that looked kind of cheap.
Yeah.
I think they worked around it as best they could, but that doesn't mean it wasn't hard on them as they were doing it.
Sure.
It says scoring the role in a high-profile project with a franchise potential. Only to see that longevity evaporate as you inch toward the release must be disappointing, but it's not always about the results. Similar to how Brittany Snow looks back on her experiences making the 2008 Prom Night movie, Winnick emphasizes the value of the experience of making The Dark Tower over the success of the finished product. Quote, I had a great experience on it. I definitely did. And every experience is a reason something else happens. There's no such thing as a bad experience, no matter what, for me, or for me at least. But I got a chance to visit South Africa, went to my first safaris, saw a beautiful tribe of elephants, and and there was always pluses on every movie, even if it's not necessarily on screen. It's also a part of experience that shapes you as a human being. So a little bit of a positive twist on things there.
Yeah. Good way of looking at it.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's short. There's just a couple quotes here. But, yeah, I just found it interesting because, yeah, crew issues and stuff and budgeting issues. Not things that we've really heard about before.
Yeah.
So kind of
also like
little bits of information trickling.
Yeah, it's not even like budgeting issues. It's mismanaging of budgets is what it sounds like. And so I don't know the film industry well enough to know well, who's responsible for that? Is that the director?
Producers.
The producers. Then?
Yeah, producers are they're the ones that hold the purse strings. But I mean, ultimately we knew they had a small budget, right? Originally it was $60,000. I think they ended up giving them, or no, it was $50,000. They ended up giving him another $15,000. So it ended up being, we think it's like 16 or 66 million in that ballpark that it was originally being shot for. So definitely
which is
that's a pretty small budget.
Relatively low.
Yeah, that's pretty small. Like there's horror movies that are being made for nearly that.
Yeah, what do we think the budget for Halloween Kills was?
I mean, yeah, that's a big franchise though. But yeah, that's still there's a lot of horror movies.
What about what was that horror movie you were just telling me about the other day?
X.
Yeah.
Which is actually something that we're going to be hearing about a little bit later as well.
Are we?
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on over to odds and ends while you're looking that up. So the first thing I wanted to mention is LeVar Burton has a show called LeVar Reads, where he has a short fiction of some kind, and then he reads it to folks that they can listen to. And it's in like kind of a podcast format. I believe it's actually through Stitcher or someone like that. But basically, in my mind, I was like, oh, so it's Reading Rainbow for adults, essentially.
That's pretty cool.
And he just did one recently, about a month ago. He did one on Afterlife, a short story by Stephen King.
Oh, sweet.
So, let's see. I was going to actually grab the thing, but I forgot. Let me pull it up real quick. Afterlife was with Bizarre Bad Dreams, I believe. Bizarre Bad Dreams in 2015. Synopsis is... let's see. When William Andrews dies of colon cancer in the hospital bed surrounded by his family, he is ecstatic at the sensation of leaving his body and therefore leaving all kinds of pains behind. He sees a pinprick of white light which steadily expands. He finds himself standing in a regular office corridor. On one wall are pinned several photographs of company picnics, and this goes on pretty long, but essentially it's an afterlife type thing.
Okay.
So and I'm trying to remember what it was. Yeah, essentially it's just like an afterlife experience thing. So yeah, it's like a 45-minute recording of LeVar Burton reading this story. I'll have the link in the show notes if you want to go over and listen to that. If you are a Geordie LaForge fan, such as I am, and or Reading Rainbow. If you're a child of the 90s, I think it's just kind of one of those things. So yeah, I'll get that link thrown in the show notes so you guys can all go listen to Afterlife by Stephen King, read by LeVar Burton, which is a new one. I don't think we've ever had LeVar reading a audiobook before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a novella or a short story. So, yeah, that's that. Next up, we have a tweet from Stephen King, and he says, Screen Rant asks the question America cares about the most. And then he says in parentheses, not. He says, who is the greatest villain, Randall Flagg or Pennywise?
Ooh.
He says, have they not considered the possibility that they are the same entity?
They're not. They're not.
That is, King is, and I put the on the title there, King's blowing our minds, because, and I wanted to get like a gif of Kramer when he's like, you just blew my mind.
You just blew my mind.
Because like, it definitely had some things trending there for a bit, but definitely seems like King maybe being a little bit of a troll. You know, what with the whole Dandelo thing, just getting asked, that was asked on the King cast. And then here he is tweeting about Flagg and Pennywise instead of Dandelo, as well as we've actually discussed. Latest that we discussed on the episode was actually Pennywise and the Crimson King being the same creature.
They seem kind of similar. Spider in their natural form. Mordred is a spider.
There's
that
some
gets that from the Crimson King.
lines of dialogue that are shared with them with Insomnia and It and stuff. But yeah, definitely kind of an interesting thing for King to throw out there. I don't know what kind of if he meant it in jest or if there's actually something in his mind that, you know, they're connected in some way.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, that would have to make me rethink all of Pennywise then if it was he and Flagg were the same thing. I would have to think about how much I actually like Pennywise now.
You always liked Pennywise.
I mean, Pennywise is pretty funny. He's a clown after all, right?
Yeah.
Clowns are funny. Especially sewer clowns with balloons and picnics and deadlights. Okay, next up, this is one of those age-old debates. Oh, anyway, new age debates. King tweeted, and he says, Netflix has spoiled me. I hate it when high-value shows like From and Severance poop out an episode a week. Come on, guys, this is the 21st century. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
On releasing an episode a week?
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing it right now with Disney Plus, aren't we?
Yeah, it's garbage. Drop them all at once.
Yeah,
drop them all. That's not my thought. I agree with King.
You're just all about binge watching.
Binging, absolutely, man. There's shows I like. There's shows I love that I will not watch until they're done, because then I can buy them and just binge the whole thing. I hate week to week, man. In some cases, a show's good enough to hold my attention with the week to week thing, but there's other times, dude, it will actually ruin my experiences. But then the way I titled this, I said King speaking truth and his son spitting lies, because then Joe Hill responded and says, but I do think releasing a show the old way, week by week, makes it more special. It becomes something you look forward to, and the story lives on in your imagination between chapters. And I can kind of see where Joe's coming from, but he's wrong. I mean, Stephen King's right. I'm all about I don't know. What's your, do you have a preference one way or the other?
If I'm watching it alone, I want it to drop all at once, because then I can binge it. If it's something I'm watching with my wife, I want it week to week.
Yeah.
Mandalorian, Book of Fett, right now Halo and Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Week to week. I honestly, I forgot to watch Halo.
Guess it shows how much you're enjoying it.
Yeah, that second episode was.
Oh man. Let's see. Anyone in the chat have any opinions here? Let's see. I'm missing let's see. Carol says it's such a waste opportunity. They should have waited until they had it all together to go forward. I'm not sure what.
Dark Tower.
Oh, Dark Tower. Okay.
Because we're just covering what Catherine said.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then Mike says the guy who took decades to finish the Dark Tower. I actually think some people called him out on that too in the comments. I only highlighted his son here, but
that's a very good point.
Yeah, exactly. Then Mark says, yeah, you remember he dropped all 7 Dark Tower novels at once. Oh wait. Mike says people literally died hoping for an ending. And then Robert says, I'm a binger, but the Game of Thrones weekly discussion, it works. We're fun. And that's where I kind of see it, is there are some that are, like I said, if they're good enough, they can hold me week to week and I enjoy them. But I will say, though, there are other shows, man, even if they're good, week to week can kill it for me. There's times that week to week has actually killed my enjoyment of shows. So I really have to be careful about which shows I like. There's like, for instance, there's that Superman show on CW right now, Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
Like, second season's out. I love that first season, but I haven't even touched the new season yet because I'm waiting until they're in their final stretch.
And then you're gonna binge it.
Then I'll buy it and then I'll binge through it because I'm enjoying it, but I don't know if I'm enjoying it enough to like wait weeks.
Honestly,
at a time.
if that's the way you're doing it, you don't have to buy it, dude. You can just wait till it goes on HBO Max. It like drops like, isn't it like the week after it finishes airing?
I don't know. I know that's the way it was there for a while, but I don't know if that's still. That's when they had a deal with Netflix. They were doing that, the CW shows. I don't know if they're still doing it with HBO Max or not. But
that's right, because it is CW, isn't it?
yeah,
You
yeah.
can watch it on the CW app. You wouldn't do that because it has ads.
Yep, absolutely not.
Ted doesn't do ads.
I'd rather do the old Gerald's Game glass hand thing than watch ads. Oh, no, not a good reference.
No, don't want. No, great reference. Just don't want to picture that again.
Oh, that's a fun one. There may be an article covering that whole thing that I may be saving for a future episode. So, let's jump on over to Uncle Stevie.
Jesus much? Wow.
Jumping on over to Uncle Stevie Recommends. So the first one, X, he is, like you mentioned earlier, King tweeted said, X is an extremely good horror movie, scary, smart, knowing, and entertaining.
I can't find the budget for that film.
And I agree. X was an incredible movie. I highly recommend it to everyone. It was a lot of fun. Felt like a really cool throwback to like old school 1970s horror movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So really enjoyed it. Next one, we have another King recommends. This is a literary one. He says 2 excellent and totally entertaining novels, both available now. The Maid by Nita Prose, the most interesting and endearing main character in a long time. And then next, When You Are Mine by Michael Robenthal. No one does suspense better.
That's high praise coming from Cy King.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. I don't know. I always love his reference or his recommendations, especially literary ones. Especially figure they're good to share because maybe there's people out there that, unlike me, read things other than Stephen King and history things. So
Yeah.
It's sad. Sometimes I look through my Audible and I'm just like, man, I literally only read King and history. Like I should probably look at other fiction and maybe see what I might enjoy. Like Joe Hill, for instance. I need to get more into him.
It's true.
But last one here. King tweeted and said, Severance is so good. The finale is shocking. Thank God Apple Plus has greenlit a second season. So, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of good things about that show. If you have Apple TV Plus, it may be worth giving it a watch after you've watched Ted Lasso, because that is
I still haven't watched that.
That is the primary one you should be watching. That's a good one. That's really good. I think you.
2 seasons now, right?
Yes, I think you'd dig it. I think you'd enjoy it.
Apple Plus isn't that expensive either. It's only $4.99.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap. So let's go on over to the Palaver section. And in this Palaver section, we've teased it for a bit now. The thing on the calendar for today's episode is the Dark Tower comics.
Yeah.
So we actually tried diving into these back in 2016, 2017, was it?
Very early on, yeah.
So it was a long time ago. Yeah, we basically maybe covered one thing, and then the movie kicked into high gear, and we never went beyond that one episode. So we want to actually jump back into it. We're going to start back at the beginning, though, because it's been way too long to remember such things.
Oh, yeah.
What we're going to do in this episode is cover the first 3 quote-unquote chapters, which when they were originally published, this would have been the first 3 issues of The Gunslinger Born. So the first thing I have to mention is the senior editor, his name is Ralph Macchio.
I was like, dude, I saw that and I was like, wait, Karate Kid?
Yeah, I was like...
Daniel-san?
I was like, if your name's Ralph Macchio and you're not Daniel-san, like you should like maybe go by Ralphie or something, or take another name like
Raphael,
just something. But yeah, this is not
at that point. That's where you go by your middle name, or
something. Just because I saw the same thing because I was like reading that thing and at the end it's signed Ralph Macchio and I'm like, huh? And I went back up to the credit thing at the first page and saw senior editor and I'm like, oh, okay. I certainly know that Daniel-san is not a editor for comic books things, so this is not him. Just same name. different person. I guess they're in different industries though, so maybe we should give the guy a break.
No. It's just like if someone's named Stephen King.
Oh, speaking of which, I will say in the show prep, there are 2 reprobates named Stephen King.
Yeah?
Because one thing about having things trigger emails to me about things Stephen King is as if local small town newspapers have a crime blotter that have people named Stephen King.
Oh, yeah?
It then triggers into my email. And there was one where it was like, I can't remember, like reckless driving or something in some small ass town. Like he ran their one stop sign in the town or whatever. And then the other one, there's this guy that's implicated in all kinds of like freaking selling guns to criminals and stuff in another place. But it was just like 2 in the same episode prepping that came up with like crime reports of Stephen King, and I'm like, what the fuck? So the one that was like running a stop sign, I was like, is this actually Stephen King maybe? And I clicked on it and realized, oh no, it's from some other complete different place. But it's just like, yeah, so it's funny you mentioned someone being named Stephen King, because yes, 2 people named Stephen King have been reported for crimes in the last month or so. So and none of them are Cy King.
That's funny.
So, yeah. So let's go ahead and jump on into Chapter 1, The Gunslinger Born. So, yeah, we'll kind of go through all these. There's a number of them we're going to end up covering, but this seemed like the best place to start is the first one here. We know that Robin Firth was involved in these. Stephen King's name is on it, but Peter David, comic book legend, as well as Jay Lee on art. Those are some legendary comic book names. So let's dive on in. What do you want to go ahead and...
Did it bother you that the line came not first? It bothered me.
Did it?
I forgot about that.
I mentioned, or I had started to kind of take notes, but then I stopped because I just felt it was better just to just riff and go with it.
I literally don't have a single note because it's a comic book.
Yeah.
I have it up on my Kindle app here on my computer, so
yeah.
It's just easy to go. Yeah, you're right. It's easy just to go through it.
And anyone in the chat, you guys can pop in with any comments or anything as well. I guess I can pop over to another thing I have here for the with the comic book cover here, which is fun. No, it didn't bother me.
No?
No, I mean, it's still...
I kind of expected it to.
The problem is, I don't know. I guess, like, it's kind of like the movie didn't have it at the beginning. The Glenn Mazzara show had it at the beginning, but it felt like they were kind of fudging some stuff in it to get it to be the first line, even though they weren't covering that section of the book.
Yeah.
It just seems like everyone's trying a different thing. I know you can't leave that line on the cutting room floor because it's just too good of a line. So
good.
The fact that it's there is good. I guess it is. I mean, I guess I could see the complaint, certainly. I just didn't have the biggest complaint about it. I don't know. I wonder, because it's not on the cover either. I'm looking at the different covers. So yeah, it wouldn't have been on the cover. Yeah,
it's in there.
It's there, but it's the first line of the second page.
Yeah.
So no, it didn't bother me. So it did bother you
a little bit. Just start with it. You know what you have. You know, that's like someone nowadays being like, for me, it's like someone nowadays being like, you know, I think I'm going to take off that scroll at the beginning of Star Wars. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
I mean, they took away the 20th Century Fox thing, and Disney owns that now.
But that's
so they
different than taking away the scroll.
Not much.
The scroll of Star Wars is iconic. The 20th Century Fox thing was
as iconic.
Was because that they didn't have Fox then. They have Fox now.
They could, so they could put it back in there retroactively.
They can put it back in there, and they have it. I know. I understand, Ted. It's okay.
So I hope whoever makes that decision gets a paper cut today.
Oh my gosh! You've been wishing paper cuts on a lot of people recently.
Because it's just an aggravating thing that doesn't really hurt anything.
But this one here is just like, well, you know what? Let's start with it. It's the line. You know, King has called it the best opening line he's ever written.
Yeah.
You know.
I will say some of the stuff they're communicating though in this first page, you see the buzzards eating some unfortunate creature, and it's done in a very bloody manner. I would say that it's right there to me. They're communicating that this isn't going to be a children's comic book.
Yeah,
you know, this isn't like a rated T for teen comic book series, which I think you would expect being a King fan or a fan of this series. But, you know, you never know with comic books. There's a lot of comic book things throughout the years that have toned things down. So I do think they're at least communicating to you, you know, how gory it could potentially be, or it's not going to shy away from that, as well as just purely speaking, the art is fucking fantastic.
It is.
That's one of my main notes to begin with, was just the art on it is stunningly good. But yes, the first line does wait till the second page, which is definitely interesting. Because again, though, it's kind of like Glenn Mazzara's is they're kind of playing with this a little bit. Like there's really no purpose for this to be here. Like they're doing this and they have the first double page thing with the big Roland picture, which I think is probably the most iconic picture of Roland, in my opinion. As one that's spent a lot of time Googling pictures of Roland for different podcast slides and stuff. This one pops up just as much as any of the cover photos or any of the illustrations in the book or any other thing. I mean, now you've got also the Idris Elba stuff as well. This image pops up just as often. It's the kind of the one with the pink, purple background and the buzzard flying, and he's like standing hatless, by the way. Look, yeah, it's the main image we get of the older Roland here, but all of this is just kind of literally only there because of that first line.
Yeah.
I think if it wasn't for the first line, none of this would exist, and you would have just started on this next page where you see all the kids with their hawks.
Yep.
So it just seems to me that kind of like Glenn Mazzara's, when you read the script of the Glenn Mazzara thing, and it's just like, oh, so they just basically taken the first part of the first book and change it to being Roland chasing Flag to Magus to get him to Magus for the fourth book. Like, it just feels to me like it's like bending yourself out of shape just to get that line in there at the beginning. Like, kind of like here, like this literally has nothing to do with the story. It's just there to get this line in and then move you over to the flashback portion. So I'm not saying that is a bad thing, because again, I get it. The line's fucking iconic and you don't want to like leave it on the cutting room floor, but I do just find it kind of funny. But again, this image is really good though, with the buzzard in the background, and again, I love there's no hat. I feel like that had to have been a Robin Firth call, because that's in that's in the text there, right? Because that's the point when we first get it mentioned
He
that
had lost his hat.
he had lost it. So that's where the hat watch began for us.
Hat watch.
Yeah, we'll have to keep that up with our book clubs.
Yeah.
We did have a hat recently, didn't we?
Yeah, he
In the last little bit
was wearing it at River Crossing, if I remember right.
Yeah. Let's see. What am I missing in the chat here?
Carol says that she should be using gloves when touching her copy of the comic. About 15 years old, and she's been babysitting it.
Yeah. And then she says mine doesn't have the beginnings one on the front though. Yeah, the image I pulled, I just honestly just Googled cover image and just found the biggest one that had the best quality and put it on here. This isn't even the cover. This isn't even the image that I have on the cover of mine either. So the one that's on the screen right now may not actually be yeah, that's probably a reprinting of some kind. It was just the only one I could find that actually was like a huge image, and I like getting huge images because then they don't come out fuzzy on the screen when I put them up there. So yeah, don't worry about that not matching. And then yeah, let's see. So what do you think otherwise? Moving past that, jumping over to the kids.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a beautifully done, beautifully drawn. I love the color with it.
Yeah,
that it's not just like. I could very well see it being like a Western where it has like 4 colors.
Yeah,
but
it's all sepia tone.
Yeah, it's sepia tone.
Which you kind of get in that second page. You get kind of that sepia tone, yellow, orange. A little bit in the first page is kind of like that, except for the sky. That's the only time you see anything that's not. But then you get to that big image though, and that's the first one you see that really has some color. Like you said, it kind of goes against what most people have in their mind, because I think everyone has like that Sergio Leone Western in their head.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the things about like Tombstone was like all about like, hey, in reality a lot of these guys wore very colorful outfits, stuff. That's what we're going to do. People wear blue shirts, people have poker things on their boots and stuff. Like, this isn't John Wayne, Sergio Leone stuff in real life. So
where it's brown leather on a brown shirt with brown boots and a brown saddle and
dusted in
dirt.
desert dirt.
Yeah. With greens, with a little bit of green sage. That's the colors.
Yeah. I will say, like I said, I think this may be one of the most iconic pictures of Roland, period. And I do think it's maybe one of my favorites.
It got the water skin.
Yeah, he's got the water skin.
Yeah.
You can see his gun. He's got the red kerchief on his neck, which is this indicator they give you for him too, because he's got that as a kid too. When we move to the next section, we got all the kids here with their hawks. Did we actually have this falconry thing in the novels.
Roland hunts with David, but not
Like this.
not everyone at once.
Yeah, because this is definitely unique. As well as they add someone in, I believe.
2 people.
So,
Thomas Whitman and Jamie DeCurry, which neither one of hell, even a land wasn't there. It was Cuthbert.
oh, I mean, in
and
terms of
Roland.
adding characters in, like their characters that were
introducing new characters.
new characters get added in.
Thomas Whitman was never, I don't think, ever mentioned in the book.
And
but
Jamie's
Jamie
mentioned, but
DeCurry
he's
is, but not in the first one.
until went through the keyholes the first time you get Jamie a little bit.
I thought you
more.
could get him in Wolves of the Kala.
Well, what do you mean?
I think he calls back like me and my friends, and after
Oh, I
after
mean, yeah,
no,
yeah,
it's
but-
the end of book 4. He talks about getting back to Magus after he comes out of the story mode. Telling the story, he talks about how after that we formed a new quartet. It was me, Alan, Cuthbert, and then one of my other friends, Jamie DeCurry, came with us as
But
well.
we get Jamie more and went through the key. We actually see more exposure to
him and Jamie go on a mission together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you think of this? I mean, for one, what do you think of the character designs here of the kids?
The only one I didn't care for is Alan. I don't know why.
Really?
but
That's actually my favorite one.
I don't like
I think
the-
it fits just perfect with kind of the rounder face and stuff that you get explained in the book. Like, I think they nailed it with him. I think
I don't
he's
know.
actually the best one to me.
I don't know why, but it I don't like the look of him. Cuthbert is my favorite. I love the look of Cuthbert with like that blackish blue hair. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I thought Alan was my favorite again because like the roundish face. It's like one of the few things I really remember, like physical descriptions from King, and like that's literally what I think of when I think of rounder face is like that. So yeah, that one I like. What about this kind of look at Gilead here? That's another thing that we haven't really seen a whole lot of. Is Gilead?
I didn't think anything much of it because it's like the training grounds.
Yeah,
it's not
like the main city.
Yeah, it's not downtown. You know, we see that later though, when he's walking
Yeah.
through the streets. But it's impressive. The arches and stuff like that is really cool looking. What do you think about Court?
Oh, exactly what I pictured him.
Yeah?
Like, dude, exactly. Like, even beyond, like, what I hoped, you know? Because, like, I've always said, like, fan casting-wise, like, Ray Winston has always been who I would cast. But, like, in terms of outside of, like, I don't even know if you can make Ray Winston look like this exactly. I think you could probably get him close. But still, like, in my head, like, this is exactly what what I pictured. And this is before these even came out. So it's not even like I've retroactively, like, let this override what he looked like in my mind. Like, no, this is exactly what I pictured him as.
Yeah.
He's just, like, barrel-chested. He kind of looks like, like at a quick glance, he may even look like he's out of shape. But then when you look at him, you realize he's, like, a rugby player.
Yeah,
and, like,
you can see like the muscles under the white shirt here when you get up close.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that I realized that I had to do with my Kindle is be able to zoom in where it goes like speech bubble by speech bubble.
Uh-huh.
So I actually get like a zoomed in
Oh, yours
of the picture as well.
So yours is? Did you get it through Kindle then?
Yeah.
Okay, because back in the day, I bought this issue through Google, and it doesn't do that, and it's kind of annoying because Marvel does that,
Yeah.
where it'll actually zoom in frame by frame. It'll just
Yeah.
rather than seeing the whole page, which sometimes sucks, but most of the time it's kind of nice to just see it image by image.
I had to figure it out because that
Ooh,
huh.
Mark said Vincent D'Onofrio is
Oh
Court.
hell yes. Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, I think that's that's
But I had to figure out the zooming thing because that first picture of Roland with like the water
The-
skin
the
we were just
big one,
talking
yeah.
about literally cannot read the text.
no,
if,
it's too big of an image.
if I'm not being able to zoomed in.
I believe some person, genius person, went through and photoshopped this to get the speech things out, so you can just have this image. It's not easy to find, but I feel like I've had it at least once on our show.
Yeah.
Which is God bless them for spending the time to Photoshop all those out, so you can
Yeah.
just have this like fucking iconic image of Roland. So, yeah. But yeah, Core is exactly what I pictured. I kind of like the Gilead look. Like I said, like you said, it's not exactly like the main area. Like I almost picture like Game of Thrones. There's like that dragon den area
Yeah,
where they have like
exactly.
those meetings. It's like it's not the city proper, but it
Well, I
like
picture like the arena, like where they have like the duel with the mountain and your boy,
yeah,
Oberyn Martell.
yeah,
It's not exactly like pretty because
Yeah.
it's a place where people fucking fight.
yeah.
This is a training ground, you know. This
thi-
isn't going to be like well kept and stuff like that. There's boys out here doing falconry.
The thing that strikes me though is that Roland's world, when we meet him, is such a world that's so beyond like large structures that it's kind of like the whole Dark Ages thing that we talked about, I think, on our last episode.
Yeah.
Where it's one of my favorite like little anecdotes from history where like after the Roman Empire fell, people saw the buildings that they built and they're like, only giants built this. Like, man couldn't have built these things.
Yeah.
Because they lost so much knowledge and information from the Roman Empire. And I think it's kind of the same
that's what
thing.
you're seeing here.
What I see there is like when I look at that, it's like I think Roland, when he sees our world, is startled by how big everything is and whatever. So it's just, to me, it's like to see a city that actually is like slightly the size of things in our world makes me think that he's gotten so used to the time after the fall of Gilead that he's almost lost that perspective of how big like Gilead was. And when he sees our world, it's just like, holy shit, like, you know, it's huge versus like one horse towns that he probably is mostly running through, like a lot of smaller places or whatever. So I do think it's kind of cool, even though this is a smaller area, not the city proper, that it's kind of cool to see like how big, like that is probably what, 15 stories or so, that tallest portion. So that
the one right behind Court is 3. You can see the door, the window,
yeah,
and then probably a little roof up there with the three little in between the two.
Or you can have the Frenchman come out.
Yeah.
And taunt you.
I taunt you a second time.
Oh, oops. I accidentally hit the slide somehow there.
Shame.
I don't know how I did that. Yeah, so there's that. Court is perfect, though. The falconry stuff, once again, getting to some gore a little bit, showing you some pretty brutal stuff, as well as Court knocking some kids over.
Not reprimanding Roland.
Yeah. Well, he's the only one that does well, it says.
And that's what's like, different between that and the book is Roland is slow.
Yeah.
And David scratches him.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so they kind of give him that he's kind of on the, like, definitely good when it comes to gunslinger, and the speed, which we're obviously going to see later on in the Dark Tower series itself, is Roland's speed. But yeah, dude, Court is amazing. Going through these pictures here, you know, there's a side profile of him there when he talks about no breakfast and no supper. Just brilliant looking, just such good art. It's just, it's so good. I mean, I generally, when I'm reading comic books, I'm reading comic books from like the 1960s to the 1980s from like Marvel or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't look like this.
No.
They do not look like this at all. So to see this kind of animation style and how good the art is just, it kind of is breathtaking.
For me, it's very similar to some of the stuff that I've been reading with Batman, because I got into Batman comics because of you a few years back. And there's some newer stuff. I mean, I got one that was released in 2017. That is, it's beautiful what they can do now with comic books. It's just unreal.
Yeah. And Robert bringing up Full Metal Jacket, Vincent D'Onofrio's biggest role early on.
Yeah.
But obviously in later years, he's done a number of things that have put him on the map. Kingpin is probably the main one that,
and Daredevil on Netflix, and now
a lot of other things.
I should correct, on Disney Plus.
Yes, yes.
That's weird to say.
Which that would, because Mike mentions Full Metal Jacket. Arlie Ermey will always be my headcanon for Court, which that would be interesting if Vincent D'Onofrio was then playing the drill sergeant.
It's true.
It'd be like coming full circle.
Full circle. Call as a will, sir. Say thank you, sir.
Indeed, Vincent D'Onofrio. And the funny thing with Full Metal Jacket, trivia-wise, is he was actually a smaller guy and put on like 70 pounds for that role.
Yeah.
And then, of course, now, as age has gone, he's gotten a little bit more portly as age has gotten to him. So now he's like come full circle even in that way, where he was like a slight person that put on a bunch of weight for that role, lost all the weight, and then here we are 30 years later, and he's getting bigger again. Yeah. So, yes, that's... I don't know. I love it, though. Court is one of my favorite characters, so it's definitely cool to see him. I think that I don't even know what we've done. Any times I've done anything with animations with Court, I think it probably would have pulled that first image that we get of Court was probably what I would have used on the slideshow, because I do think it's really good. And then as we go on a little bit further, we get the hero of the story, Martin, showing up here.
No, stop it.
With the scene, what do you think of this? The execution of this scene with Martin and the mom.
It's even worse than it was in the book, because she's like full on naked, like they just got done.
Yeah,
is what it feels like with her reaction and everything.
Yeah. And
do you know what this character model reminds me of?
What's that? Or who? Gabrielle?
Yeah, Gabrielle. Who she reminds me of? Helen Bonham Carter.
Okay, yeah.
Is it Helena or Helen?
I think it's Helen.
Helen
Yeah.
Bonham Carter. That's who it reminds me of right here, with like the black hair coming down and everything like that. She even looks like this later
Yeah.
when she's saying goodbye to Roland.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say goodbye to her.
Yeah.
That just screams that to me. But like the bite mark and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I can tell you, I get where Roland's coming from on this one.
Yeah. One thing I'll mention too is the color palette change when you move to the kids. It's now more of these bluish green or this
Yep.
green blue color, and then you have some warmth to it when you're out there with the kids falconing. But then when you get to this scene though, it just goes like almost pure blue, and it's just blue and black and white. So it feels very cold, which is just really well done.
And you just have
art-wise.
Roland's handkerchief that's red just sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. Yeah, so gotta love all this taunting from our boy Flag here, and then of course we have him hitting Gabrielle,
Which is true to the book, where he hears that as he's walking away. So not only on top of him sleeping with her,
yeah,
leaving his mark on her, now he's also physically abusing her.
yeah, yeah. Which of course is all part of the plan, right?
Yeah.
Like he knows Roland's going to hear that. He does it quick enough that Roland's still probably just outside the door. All of this is part of his plan. Like he's certainly whatever. Then of course we get to one of my favorite scenes is the challenge to court.
Bondsman.
Yeah, just all the dialogue here. I will also give them credit, and I'm sure Robin Firth is a big part of that, is throughout this whole thing so far, the language has been spot on.
Yeah.
Even when it's the whatever narrator, whoever it might be, talking to us, there's a lot of mid-world lingo.
See this very well.
Yeah, all those kind of things. And then like all the dialogue that's being pulled here is being pulled pretty much verbatim from the book, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if King's written it so well, why would you go different, right? Then we get to the challenge, got all that, and then we get Alan using the touch. Do you remember this?
Even Court here, real fast. Seeing him without his shirt on, you just see how freaking jacked he is.
Oh yeah.
Like
It's like those strongman contests. Like that's what these guys, like those guys look like. Those guys that are gonna get like a
to
giant.
lift up the 500-pound ball and put it up on the pedestal,
And, like,
or turn over the freaking
those
monster
giant tires.
and everything.
Yeah.
Or throw the logs that are as round as my arms can go and 30 feet high. They toss those to see how far. World's Strongest Men are not what you see in model competitions.
No, it's not like Arnold
It's
Schwarzenegger.
not, it's
They don't
not
look-
bodybuilding.
No.
I am so buff. Look at me.
No.
It's not that. When
No.
you think strongman, go look at the Mountain.
Yeah.
The guy who played the Mountain in Game of Thrones has competed in strongman competitions.
Yeah.
They are a different breed. Like I'll give you one. If anyone wants to Google a guy named Mark Henry, he was a professional wrestler with the WWE. Back in the day when he was introduced, I'm like, oh, it's just a fat guy, and everything like that. Then I finally started watching like I watched a couple strongmen, like World's Strongest Men competitions. Dude, you have to be that big to have those kinds of muscles. It's it's not meant to be all showy and flashy like they do in the the modeling competitions.
Yeah.
So it's something that a lot of people have that misconception in their head that Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he does his body modeling back in the day, that's what the World's Strongest
Like the
Man's
Mr.
gonna look
Universe
like.
type
the
stuff.
Mr. Universe
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what.
And it's definitely not. Like no. Like,
That's what the World's Strongest
those
Man's
guys
gonna
look
look
like
like.
Court.
No.
Those guys look like Court does here. Like they're shaped like a thumb.
They
and
are.
That's the kind
they're
of
just thick.
Yeah. And that's definitely, like I said, at a quick glance, you may think, oh, that guy's out of shape. But then you look at him, you're like, oh no, that guy could like pick up a Volkswagen and freaking hurl it.
Yeah,
So
legit could.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, very.
Sorry, what were you saying about Alan and the touch?
Do you remember that from the book?
It's not in the book. Roland tells him what he did.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He
I was
flat
like,
out-
because
he flat out just tells
we
him.
get the touch stuff later, but I was like, this seems early to me
is.
for it, but which is fine, right? Like, if you want to establish this stuff, it's easier to show it up front. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny. It's interesting you didn't like Alan because like I said, like he's actually seems the closest to me, because again, I don't always picture everyone when I read. Some people I just have a shape that whatever, and like Alan, or Cuthbert, even though he's one of my favorites, I don't know that I really have much of an image for him.
As much as Alan is described as round face, I never pictured him as pudgy, which is I think where my problem is that especially in this one right here where he is talking to Roland, you get him like a side shot of him, and he's got like the thick, round, pudgy neck, kind of what you would expect Ben Hanscom to have. And that's not, to me, that's not Alan. There's no way that you're going to have a pudgy kid being trained under Court. Court's going to whip any kind of fat off of any of these kids.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where, for me, that's what kind of rubbed me wrong. And it's not like me being like, oh, they can't be fat. It's just that I don't picture that for a gunslinger.
Yeah.
I picture the knights, the white, the line of eld. They don't. Court would not let them get fat. Like, that's kind of what rubs me the wrong way there.
Yeah, I don't know if he's as portly as you're making him out. Like,
I'm just looking at this one picture here that right after he, you don't see nothing. You don't see your old self. I am, for now at least. And then he kind of starts getting like right before he has the vision.
Yeah.
There's like the side shot of
and
him.
I think it's I think it's more the angle, because you look at that picture before. I mean, he's in darkness, but he doesn't look that big in that previous picture. So I think it's just kind of one of those, like, what is it like when a friend takes your picture and you're not suspecting it and you look a certain way. I think it's maybe more of something like that. But this next section though is one of my favorite. Not even just the fight itself, but this whole thing where he's talking to his friends here, and then he says, "Has Court come?" And then from the darkness, Court is here. Like, I love that. That's so cool. And then Court out of the darkness and stuff, just really cool. I don't know, maybe it's just the framing of it, and then like the back and forth on the next page is just the way it's animated is great. Calling out what the weapon's going to be. And then, of course, getting to the actual fight itself.
I love the explanation that even though Court's seen it all, he knows everything, he's still taken aback by David and doesn't fully comprehend what's about to hit him in the face.
Yeah.
And then the shot of Court where he's, the fight's starting, and dude, so Wolverine-esque.
I was thinking
the wife beater.
I was thinking like Juggernaut is my thought.
Oh, I could see that too.
Yeah.
But I always picture when you say a wife beater superhero charging at you, going, I go to Wolverine.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just all of it, dude. It's just so gorgeous. The way it's
so
drawn
great.
is just incredible. Not only just the throwing David, whatever, but then also just David getting his eye. Once again, like I said, it's one thing to see him buzzards eating a dead something, but then seeing Court's eye being ripped to fucking shreds here is it's pretty brutal. Feathers flying all over the place.
Yeah.
I love it. So good
and
stuff.
Then Court going for Roland's eyes.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm gonna blind you.
Yeah, which I guess I never really would have thought of that Court would actually go that hard, necessarily to the point where you may actually like disable the person like permanently, right? Because if he gouged too hard, like, I mean, I guess he's in exile, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like, I don't know, just seems pretty brutal. I don't.
It is.
It
is. And then he gets David and tosses him back into his face.
Yeah.
And I love he took my ear.
Yeah. And then, of course, David reaches his end here.
Yep.
As Court looks like just grabs him and just splits him like a freaking, like one might do a rotisserie chicken.
Yep. Just dig into it with your hand, just like a barbarian.
Yeah, and he certainly has the muscle for it.
Yeah, he does.
And of course, Court's stick having a blade on the end is interesting.
Yeah, that's not how it's a spade. It's almost like a shovel is what I remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then the knobbly end on the other side.
Yeah. I don't know. Just great art. The coloring on it is great too. I guess we talk about the art, but the coloring is included in that as well. The coloring is really good. Very well done. Then we kind of get the end of the fight here. He asks for the key. Court tells him to wait. All the stuff that we remember from the book.
Let the legend grow before you.
Legend grow, yeah. They do a good job of the world building here, where it talks about that, Roland is not going to get his father's guns yet, but now he's going to have a first-year gunslinger, the guns of a first-year gunslinger. And then they go and bury
I
David.
love just one part before we keep going. I love that since his staff has a blade on it, that it's stabbed into the ground next to him.
Yeah.
I love that shot, that image of him kneeling over Cord with the staff stabbed into the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we get this showdown with Martin again, which we don't really get in the book that I recall, where you almost have Roland kind of give
Roland goes straight to the whore.
Yeah, exactly. Based on Court's recommendation, right?
Yeah.
He probably would have gone to Flag. So this is kind of a change
Martin,
a bit.
Martin, not Flag.
Flag is a flag is a flag, sir. He is what he is. I'll always call him Flag, whether it's Richard Fannin or Richard Ferris or any of these other names.
John Farson.
He's always Flag to me. Sir.
John Farson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed. I mean, I know this is gonna go against that, but I'll stand by that till the day I die, man. King called him Farson and Flag the same person, so that's enough for me. But yeah, no, it's kind of interesting because it's a different take on Roland's character to actually have him
Resist.
get in the room with Flag again and then resist.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know, even with the wisdom of Court, if the role in the book that I would picture, if he were to end up in a room with him again, I don't think that it doesn't go a different way. I don't think he'd have the ability to hold off. I think if he stays away from him and just goes to the brothel or whatever, that's
because
different.
then his dad intervenes in the morning before he can do it.
Yeah.
It's not.
So, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying it's a different interpretation of the character.
He has Cuthbert with him as well, which explains the situation to Cuthbert, which Cuthbert doesn't have any idea in the book what's going on.
No.
But to introduce that his best friend now knows. I mean, there's even the line where he's like, "What's going on? It's complicated." And then the Gabrielle, who's still not dressed, by the way.
Oh, she's covered there.
She's wearing a sheet, dude.
Is that a sheet or is that?
Yeah, you literally get a shot from behind. She has nothing on. Like she has a sheet wrapped around her. Is what it looks like.
Well, this all would have happened in a very short period of time, right?
It's an hour.
Yeah.
So she doesn't get dressed after getting beat. Like it's a bad man. It's a bad man. Woman beater man. Bad guy.
It's a trap.
It's a bad guy. Yeah, he's setting a trap for Roland. He's a bad guy.
Bamboozle. He's trying to bamboozle Roland here.
Yeah, exactly. Bad guy.
Then the conversation with Cuthbert is cool. Yeah. Again, like what it says, I didn't spare him. I simply didn't kill him yet.
Yeah.
Again, it gives a whole different thing. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just different from the book, and I think it does kind of add a little bit of a vindictive Michael Corleone level to Roland, which is interesting. And then we get to the brothel. Now we get more of the city a little bit here. When you're looking out of the brothel, you can see more of the city. Again, doesn't necessarily look like a city at its height, but it does look way more than what I would expect from Roland's world. Of course, we get to Lud, and Lud looks different. Looks like something from our world, but
that's a different kingdom altogether.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. And it's falling apart too once we get closer.
That's mid-world. This is in-world.
Yeah. So then, of course, we got a stranger coming in and then destroying Roland's...
Shooting a gun out of his hand.
Destroying the gun here.
As he's moving. Like, this isn't like he's holding the gun on him and he blows it away. He's rolling over
to draw, which we already saw. It mentioned how fast Roland is, so we know how fast that would be.
This guy draws and shoots.
How good is it going to be for this guy to draw and shoot and destroy that gun out of his hand? What do you think of the animation or the illustration of Steven here?
Not a fan of like the Mexican mustache.
Yeah, I love it, man.
I don't know. That just doesn't fit what I have in mind for Steven.
I love just how he's also drawn in darkness here. You don't get a lot of detail of him. There's a lot of shadow involved. And then you do get to the spot where you get a little bit more on him, and he's got the red kerchief, the same as Roland. You know, what's going to be Roland's guns, that we will know. But yeah, it's a little bit of a different take, certainly. It's not quite Kurt Russell, from Tombstone, which is what I've always pictured. But it's close enough for me. I don't know. So
close enough for government work.
Yes, indeed. So then moving on over to chapter 2, got a lovely little Crimson King animation on the cover of this one here.
Spiders.
Yeah, that's pretty sinister looking.
It is very sinister looking. Just ripping someone's head off.
And then as we get in, we're it's basically right where we left off. What I love about the way they drew this stuff in this section is just how big Steven looks. Like he dwarfs Roland, and I don't think that like he's actually that much bigger. I think it's just kind of one of those like perception things that they're trying to convey here.
Yeah.
Like I don't think because this like dude, the way this first image looks, like Steven would be like, even though Roland's sitting down, Steven would have to be like almost 7 feet tall to actually look like that. But what they're doing is they're conveying the shame of what Roland feels, you know. So I love that. That's one of my favorites. And again, I just love the coloring, because it is even to the kerchief. It looks like his shirt's red. So it looks like he has a red shirt. So black and red, that's a wonderful color to go together.
It's a great color combo.
You're here on the Dark Tower shirts. So yeah. And then this scene plays out. You know, I love the line about, you know, shoot me and just finish this abortion. Or make this abortion complete. Just love all that straight from the book. Of course, I've known for 2 years that like a lot of this, it's I don't know. A lot of it comes down to like how are they adapting it, because so many of the lines are just straight from the book. So I don't even know if we really have to comment on the lines as much, because like they did a great job at keeping it pretty much right on point when it comes to this stuff. But animation wise, and what about this close up of Steven with I've known for 2 years?
Oh, dude, that sends chills down my spine for it, because it's just like I love that he lets Roland go for a little bit, and then finally he's just like, I've known for 2 years, cuts him off, and you know, I love those ones where it's like mid rant for someone, and then it's just like someone says something and just shuts them right
just some kind of revelation. But yeah, I just love it. Again, there's a lot of shadow. I don't think we've really got a really good shot of Steven's face anywhere. It's all very shadowy.
It kind of reminds me of Danny Trejo.
Yeah, a little bit. But and then like this next image of his hand under Roland, kind of a kind gesture is kind of cool because I don't think we really get a whole lot of that. So it's cool,
especially talking about with the phrase there. If I had lost you, Roland, I should have died.
And he does say that in the book, but like I just don't like. I think it's very interesting because I don't think I would have ever put that. Like him putting his hand under his chin,
that gesture of physical contact.
Yeah, I don't think I would have put that in that scene in my head. I don't know if King describes it being that way, but if he did, I missed it. So I just think it's cool because it adds a level of intimacy to it that is pretty cool. And then of course we get a great image here of Mr. Flag with all sorts of imps and demons behind him.
Talks about having like deformed human fetuses and
skulls and.
That's not a good person. Like, I'm sorry, but no.
He's just trying to help democracy along in this world.
Stop it.
Oh, what do you think of the animations for him? Like the illustration, what do you think?
It's good. It was really good. I like that he's not like strong looking like Steven. Like Steven looks like a hard case.
Like you could see Steven like throwing down with Court.
Right.
And that wouldn't be a short fight. Or it wouldn't be like Court wouldn't just fucking destroy him.
Court would absolutely destroy this guy in a physical fight. Martin Broadcloak here. But Martin Broadcloak looks like a guy that could I don't know, turn him into a puppy.
Yeah. Yep, well, it would definitely get in there. But yes, that's a perfect thing to do for Flag too, I think, is I don't think he should ever really look super physically imposing.
No.
I think they've done a generally good job of that too. Jamie Sheridan was actually a little bit bigger, muscular. He wasn't like a freaking bodybuilder, but he wasn't as strong. Like Skarsgård is a smaller, like a leaner guy and stuff, so he's pulled it off that way. McConaughey is leaner and stuff. Just generally we see him and he's generally portrayed as a little bit smaller, which is good. I think that works. Gary Oldman would also fit that just real well there. Very good though with the yellow coloring, just very sinister. And then we jump over to the Crimson King, the Eye of the Crimson King. All sorts of Vlad the Impaler spikes and red, very, very strong red, stronger than we've ever seen before. And then we get to that full on image here of the I don't know, all the wizard glasses all around there, and the Crimson King ripping something / someone apart.
God, and like all the legs like flailed up like a tarantula in defense and everything.
Yeah. Like, very, very creepy. Like I don't know what I would have pictured with like the Crimson King being like the King of Spiders, but it was definitely not this.
Yeah.
This is way more freaky and sinister. Like they did a killer job. They did better than my imagination could have done.
Yeah.
I think so. Very well done by the artists here. And then I don't know what he got. 5. No, 6.
6 of them.
6 of them there. Once I scroll up a little bit, I was missing one. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of them there.
Yeah. And then the close-ups of Martin Broadcloak looks a little bit different than he does in the Yellow Room.
Yeah.
Where he has like the yellow.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a mustache here.
Yeah, and doesn't have the hair. It looks like he's
Yeah.
bald even. Different facial. Which, dude, isn't that perfect?
Like to cast a glamour on his image coming to the Crimson King.
Yeah. And I just feel like with Flag, he's always going to look different. Like
Yeah.
he's never going to appear the same. Like I feel like that's what I've said before. If they ever did a Dark Tower show, I think it'd be brilliant because you could recast him every season. There could be a different person playing Flag every single season,
Yeah.
and you don't even have to try to make like, oh, these guys kind of looked like. Nope, doesn't even matter.
even
like,
have to-
it'd almost be like Doctor Who-ish. You could just
Yeah.
cast anyone. Maybe
Next one.
maybe Flag's a female one season.
There you go.
That would be interesting.
Regina Flag.
No, it could still be Randy Flag.
Randy Flag.
Randy could be a lady's name. Spell it with an I, and then it's
I'd rather go with Regina.
I don't know. Doesn't be Randall. It's just Randy. Yeah, but no, I love that. And then of course we get the Crimson King,
Which is
kind of a different form
ugh.
now. His form is changing as well. Because I don't think there's in that first picture you could really see a head that looks human at all. And in this image here, we got him with the red spot on his head, and which I guess kind of would echo what we're going to see with Mordred, right?
Yeah.
Spider, but then it can kind of turn human and
Human S.
yeah. So that's definitely good. Then we get some unfortunate law enforcement officers, constables here,
Yeah.
coming to arrest Mr. Broadcloak.
Burke.
Oh, I mean, he's turned him into what? Pugs, it looks like?
Looks like a pug.
Pug or French bulldog, something like that.
Yeah.
Either
And then
way.
he punts one.
Now, does that count as like abuse of a dog if you
Yes.
turn somebody into a dog and then
Yes.
abuse that? Like, is that really abuse of a
Yes.
dog? I don't know. It's not a real dog.
Yes, it is. It's turned into. Do you think they turn back?
I mean, I don't know, but it's not like a.
I would not picture him putting an expiration date on that spell. I would picture him being like, "Yeah, you're a dog now, motherfucker. Stay there.
Oh, and I
Enjoy
love
kibbles for the rest of your
I
life."
love these as go mate with a Billy Bumbler too.
Yeah, that's a great. That is one of the better lines.
That's a good one. And then of course drawing.
Oh yeah, Carol points out there's a line of what the Crimson King speaks, and babies die in their cribs.
yeah,
That
definitely.
that is a haunting line.
Yeah. The Crimson King speaks. As a direct result, somewhere a slumbering, dreaming infant shudders and dies in its crib. So it's like almost like a retcon for like SIDS
Yeah.
type thing. Which that's you kind of get that with Flag a little bit too, don't you? Something about that when like someone drives by him when he's on the highway in the stand, and it says like he's hitchhiking if he giggles like like
A sleeping baby wakes up crying.
and like a lady like her she's pregnant and be like it's stillborn or something. I feel like there's some kind of allusion to that. in
There's
this.
something along those lines. I don't think it goes that far though.
Yeah, no, not that far, but certainly close. It echoing in a way. Not I don't want
Yeah.
to say in a good way because it's not a good thing, obviously, but echoing in a cool way to like tie it all together a little
Yeah,
bit. But
where it's like kind of like a different representation of this kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
For different characters.
And then this next bit, this is what I really wish we would have seen in the movie: is do the Man in Black flood across the desert and the gunslinger follow, then have Roland or the Flag create some kind of doorway, and then move into like the Dogan, which
Yeah.
we see him in later. It would have been cool to see him almost like playing Roland to make Roland think he's still chasing him, but all the while he could just like
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, it's 7:00. I gotta pop back in and
Yeah.
make a fire and then pop back out."
Exactly. So I like this whole creating the doorway and the wall is really cool, and it's really what I would have hoped in the movie, but of course it doesn't. Then we get the fathers sending the kids away. Dude, the coloring is fucking brilliant in every one of these panels that we've seen so far.
And you don't see a full gunslinger's face. None of the three
No.
fathers are ever out of the shadows.
No, they're all shadowy. Like I love that. Like I really do, because like really it's not their story, so there's no reason to
Yeah.
have them fully like revealed. So gotta love that. Got some some warnings. They're laying out the whole thing for what their mission is and stuff. Then of course we got the last shot of Gabrielle here.
This the other shot I was talking about with Helen Bonham Carter.
Yeah,
Just screams it to me.
I think it's just because she's pale. You're just used to the whole.
No, dude, do me a favor. Google.
Wait, is she in things that aren't Tim Burton?
Yes.
I'm joking.
Google.
I'm just saying
her
that
in,
she's in so much of his stuff is why I'm just making a joke.
Oh, it's true. Google
but-
her in Harry Potter, real fast, just for me.
No, I'm just making a joke. We don't have to.
I'm telling you, this is what pops into my head instantly.
No, I
Is-
know. I'm
is
just,
Bellatrix Lestrange from Harry Potter.
I just have to make a joke about Helen Bonham Carter because she's in all the Tim Burton stuff.
She's in
I mean,
everything. Everything Tim Burton has ever done. Even if she's not in it, she's there somehow.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder what would happen though if she ever got a tan. Does he just like lose his mind? Like, I can't cast you now. You're not pasty white.
They just paint her.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So then we move on over here to a card game, accusation of cheating, and then Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas.
Am I wrong?
No.
It looks just like Antonio Banderas. Not like super. Not it does like it's not exact, but it's close enough that definitely looks like him. Introduced to some of the old big coffin hunters here.
Yeah.
What do you think of which one is this? Reynolds?
Roy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, DePape. Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, not what I pictured, but I love it.
Yeah.
This one I do love.
Yeah. And then of course next up,
Jonas. Spot on.
exact, dude.
Spot on.
Exact. Like I've always said,
The wiry, the wispy
Yeah.
hair, the mustache.
yeah, it's pretty much perfect for what I've pictured. They absolutely nailed him. Then we get more of them down here. We got the one with the glasses. I always get them all mixed up in terms of the coffin hunters. 'Cause we got
So that's Clay.
Reynolds
Clay Reynolds and then
Roy
Roy
DePape.
DePape.
Okay,
So the other one.
and then Sheemy getting roped into cleaning up the dead body
Yeah.
here. Which
So Reynolds
new.
is the one that shoots that looks like Antonio Banderas, and DePape is the one with glasses.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I can never keep them straight. It's for me. It's just I don't know. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just the way I've always had an issue with that. But yes, this I love them all. I think they're all animated brilliantly here. Sheemy, what do you think of Sheemy? Speaking of
Looks good.
our most beloved,
Yeah.
he was in our first round there.
Yeah.
He does. He does. I don't know what I ever pictured with him, but yeah, that definitely. I've seen this image, and I think it's kind of getting in my head a little bit about Sheemy now. But definitely a brutal scene. Not one that we saw in the books.
No.
And of course, Sheemy getting signed up to clean up the body. That's rough. A lot worse than what he was put through that we saw. A lot of shit he was just doing like random tasks around the bar and stuff.
Yeah.
They weren't having him like clean up a body. So
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. But
Poor Sheemy.
what do you think? What do you got next?
And then we
here?
got the Rook Skull with Cuthbert. We
Yeah.
forgot to mention it when they were leaving that someone calls him out for it. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, it's our lookout. I
Yeah.
need him.
Yeah.
He's along for the ride. And then we get him again. What do you think about the Weed Eater?
The failed gunslinger.
Yeah.
I mean, looks like something from Romero.
Terrifying.
Yeah, pretty. It works. It works great
Yeah.
for me because I think the way that that King explains him in the first book and stuff, like what the Devil's Grass does to people. I think this is a great illustration of it to actually show. You know what I mean? Like what a person would look like after they've gone into
exactly.
that. So,
And like this,
but it almost looks undead, dude. That looks like a zombie.
There's
to me.
the close up of him with like the missing teeth and
Yeah.
everything like that. He's got like the gray skin, exactly like you said, like from a Romero zombie movie.
yeah. And
Even like the yellowish eyes too.
yeah. It's
He's got a little bit of jaundice.
it would be that would creep me the fuck out if I saw that. That's for
I
sure.
would not be buying that Thing dinner.
No, and then it's interesting to add to the world the whole failed gunslinger and see
Yeah.
what the other half looks like here.
That's what Roland almost was.
Yes, indeed. That's the let's see. And then Carol says fan casting of the comics. In terms of, I mean, D'Onofrio is definitely.
Oh, that one's in. Antonio Banderas is one of them.
You just got to de-age him 30 years to be.
That's fine. They do that nowadays.
I mean, I still think that Jonas is. I always think of freaking homeboy, Western guy. I'm blanking. Sam Elliott.
Oh yeah.
I always picture Sam Elliott. It doesn't look
Talk low and slow, Sam Elliott.
Yeah, just get the. I mean, I don't know. We saw those images of Michael Roker, and he actually looked pretty good.
Oh yeah.
So you could definitely do a number of things there. But yeah, I don't know. Fan casting, we've done a lot, but I don't know. I think some of this has influenced me with our fan castings over the years, because I've seen a lot of these images. Like I said, I always prepare the slideshow, so whenever we talk about characters and stuff, if I need to find a picture, in some cases the comics are going to be the only pictures we've got, because what else are you going to have, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're talking the main quartet, there's not going to be any animations outside of the comics. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we got that, and then we're moving over to Coos Hill here. And Rhea is not looking all that bad.
Rhea doesn't look
she
anything
looks-
like what I expected.
Yeah, but
She
then
looks like she just got off the Mayflower.
but then again, this is also at the very beginning.
no, she's
of-
still Rhea of the Coos, the witch of the Coos.
She doesn't.
Literally,
She doesn't
is
look like
called
a
that.
yeah, but she doesn't look like a skeleton until the end.
They
So,
literally describe her as being dry as a desert.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if that's. I could see this. Like I could buy this early on now.
This whole like pilgrim hat and coat and everything like that. No, I picture something like she has a freaking 6-legged black cat, cast bones onto her table and shit like that. No, she doesn't dress like a school teacher from the 1700s. That is not what I pictured at
I
all.
like this because I don't know, because I haven't gone through them all, but I have a feeling that here when we get to the end of this story, she's going to look much different, and this is more of a let's set up the before in a way that when we get to the after, it's as striking as
jarring
possible.
as possible.
Yes. So I don't know. Again, I haven't gone through them all. This is the first time we've probably gone through. Maybe we only did the first issue the last time we did this, so we're maybe going further now than we did before.
Yeah.
So, of course, got the grapefruit there, and she's cast in shadow a lot too. Rhea is, so which works out well. What do you think of the hill here on this big one pager here?
That's such an interesting hovel from her. Not what I expected. I pictured like she's at the top of a hill and just has a house sitting there. This almost looks like a graveyard.
Yeah.
Like those are tombstones around her.
Yeah.
So, ugh.
Yeah, definitely. Would that
Also, let's be perfectly honest. It's got fog.
Yeah, that helps.
That ground hugging fog. That's just spooky as
Would
hell.
you go investigate that?
No.
If you were to come across that?
No. Maybe if I had a flamethrower and a couple tanks.
Oh, so mist is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. You
Well,
like the mystery?
I don't know, man. I think I would need more than that to go up there if it were me.
Carol says she looks scary at the start. Such a long way to go.
Yeah, because she does. There's just something sinister about her. Like it's not overt. Like they don't paint her as the wicked witch of the West to start, which I think is a good thing, because I think that would just be so cliche. So I think that to kind of make her where it's just like she almost looks like she could just be.
She looks like Aunt May from the very first Spider-Man movie.
And I think that works because because as we go here, this next go down a little bit here, and when we get to her and with Susan in the foreground, and she says, but dead he is your dad, Pat Delgado, like that image. Now she looks a lot creepier. That's what I'm saying. It's not just that first one, especially just those beady white shines in the eyes there. Looks very creepy. It just feels very, I don't know, maybe there's a nun thing going on there too. Just feels sinister to me. I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it. Then she's looking in the grapefruit as she sends Susan out there. Then got the hands and all kinds of horrible things going on here. Definitely not fun.
Reaching behind her and grabbing that's witch's hands right now. That's
yeah.
I expect her to go, my pretty.
Yeah, those like the fingers are all like
claws.
misshapen and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I have a feeling that it's more of this is establishing the before, and then like when we get toward the end, I'm wondering if she's going to be much more grotesque
I imagine she will be. I'm a little disappointed that Susan has her hair in a braid, because like that's one of the things that's like beautiful blonde hair flowing and everything like that.
Yeah.
She even talks about it like in the book, like that's one of the things that he wants is the plunges, and we know what happens with her hair and everything.
Yeah.
At the end of this meeting, what is implanted in her brain.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a little bit disappointing to have it put up in a braid.
Yeah.
Not all flowed out around her shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it for this scene, like just feeling like I don't know, like trying to be like, I don't know, it feels more like protected or closed off. Like it's kind of like I know it's hair, and it's not like body language like you'd normally see, but I almost wonder if like the braided hair is kind of like someone that's more like
folding their arms to protect themselves.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I kind of maybe feel like like hair open and stuff that feels more like free,
you're comfortable,
like
you're going
yeah.
on a date, you feel pretty, that kind of
thing. Yeah. So I don't know. That didn't bother me. Susan's in darkness for a lot of this.
You get one good real shot of her face.
One, but even there, a quarter of the face is out and blacked out in darkness.
Yeah.
Or no, a little bit further down, we get her full on with
where she's outside.
where she's out with the getting the woods. So, but she's painted in darkness a lot. She's wearing this red dress, and then like closing off here, we get the meeting here with her and Roland. After we get through the unpleasantries of
I just had to scroll past her getting examined by Rhea.
Freaking Rhea. And again, I don't know how the hell a series is ever going to cover that. It's
just going to be so awkward.
I just don't. So then let's go the last chapter here that we're going to cover. We have the meeting, and this is a very stylized thing here. It's like a tree bridge type thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And there's a horse on there?
A horse up there, yeah.
All right.
I mean, I think it's more, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a road and like that's the lower portion. They just, I think it's more stylized there. But
I love how she pulls a knife on him, like, "Hey, motherfucker!"
Yeah, I'll cut you. I mean, in a world like this, I don't think it'd be the worst thing for her to have some protection.
Oh, and she'll use it too. Look at that face.
Oh yeah. I think that's the first time we really get a good shot. I mean, there is the one where she's out with the wood, but I don't know.
This one's a little bit closer.
Yeah, this one's closer. It looks a little bit more like a full reveal. And then, back and forth. A lot of this stuff straight from the book. The dialogue, again, I don't want to point it all out because literally it's just they've done a great job of just capturing what King did. I think it's probably Robin deserves a lot of the credit for that in terms of distilling this down and helping with the scripts and stuff. And I don't know. I don't want to, give it all to her because maybe there's some people that were actually involved in this that read the books and stuff as well to where they did it, but I just feel like Robin deserves a lot of credit because this feels very genuine to the story. Anything you got to point out here in this next section here?
They cut out a little bit of the flirting back and forth, but still have the kiss at the end.
Yeah, and then what does it say? The kiss was brief but not sisterly.
Not sisterly. Don't know if I've ever been kissed by my sister, but I guess I don't live in Alabama. So.
I don't have a sister, so I don't know what a sisterly kiss would be.
I don't either. Like that just is weird to me.
Is that like a kiss on the cheek?
I guess. I don't know. I've never experienced that. So.
Yeah. But then there's a lot of talk here, setting up a lot of the story here, talking about the town. We talk about the mayor. We talk about her dad a little bit.
She's very that always hurts my heart. When she talks about her dad. Yeah,
definitely. And then just they go on, they split. She the one line, "Meet me for the first time." That's one of my favorite the whole things from the book as well, with that whole type thing. They have their little moment and stuff. There's some information given back and forth or whatever, but then ultimately she says, for her own protection and everyone's protection, just pretend that we didn't meet before, basically. So
and then I love his line at the end of it. And yours, I look forward to meeting you for the first time.
Yeah,
that's a good line.
Yeah, that's good. And then we jump over to the very distinct from Randall Flagg, John Farson here.
Yes.
And what do you think of this? I guess I didn't picture him being extreme in any way. I just felt like the whole revolutionary stuff, generally it's just a normal person in maybe that's in a uniform or whatever. I didn't expect this kind of Dark Ages, medieval, like I guess I should have though, because it actually fits with this universe. But he's got like this like very stylized helmet. He's got this armor on and stuff, which I guess which maybe makes more sense than what I would have expected.
Yeah.
But I guess I just never expected Farson to actually be that striking looks wise.
Yeah.
I just pictured he'd just be some guy in whatever kind of clothing and normal, no hat,
Yeah.
no helmet.
I've
nothing.
always pictured kind of like what's the guy's name down in South America that was a revolutionary? He's on the
Che Guevara.
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of just like a guy,
Yeah.
Fidel Castro kind of leader that just like is against the norm, but the opposite in this scenario
Yeah.
where he's going for democracy. I kind of just picture that, but this is like full on like warrior armor helmet, like you said.
Yeah.
And then him and his dudes are talking about how far he can behead someone.
Yeah, which I guess for a character introduction, there's far fewer ways to really put someone in their perspective of
Yeah.
where they align with beheading and betting on how far. And then, of course, where it splats, the doorway comes through, and then where the most people that argue that Flag and Farce are not the same people, this is generally their primary evidence. Here we actually get them
looking at each other.
Here they are like face to face. Well, we cut away before they talk, right?
No, they talk.
Oh yeah, right
Where's
there.
the
I'm
damn
sorry. Yeah.
oil you promised
Yeah,
me?
that last panel. Okay, yeah. Which again, it's all in shadow. Because see, the one thing I would say is, if it weren't for the way they set this whole thing up where they're talking, I'd say that mask could be mighty helpful for Flag, even if he weren't transforming his looks. If he were Farson,
Or he has someone pretending to be Farson.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's just a
yeah,
puppeteer.
yeah. You put the mask on, and it makes it easy to do whatever you
Then
need
you
to do.
become the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yeah,
know?
indeed. Okay, then we got Thorin, Avery, and Eldred Jonas here. What do you think of the looks of these characters? Because it's almost like dreamcasting,
Good.
right? Like it's like we've seen these characters so much, and to finally see them, it's almost like It's almost like if this was an adaptation, that was a show or a movie, we'd have the same conversations about, well, what do you think of this person? What do you think of this?
Yeah.
Except here, they're drawing them. So what do you think of these? Jonas, we already talked about.
Jonas,
but
we already talked about. The mayor's not what I pictured.
I pictured like more of like the receding but like curly, poofy old man hair. You know what I mean? Like I just pictured like
I picture him taller and lankier because they always talk about like his joints crackling.
yeah.
So I always picture like a I can't think of
an actual person.
I
but
think of like an old decrepit wizard kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like taller and lankier.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not what I expected. I'm not sure if Avery I ever really had much of an image for, so that works for me. And then we're kind of going through and introducing a bunch of people. We have the big scene here with Roland and Susanna, Susan, where he understands what her situation is. And then, of course, because of then we got Renfrew as well. That's an interesting look.
Yeah.
And then, of course, once we get the Olive Thorin, that's where Roland's kind of becomes a prick to Susan because, of course, the trauma of the stuff with his mom then rubs off on Olive, and then he then sees, Susan as the bad person in the whole thing,
the homewrecker.
Yeah, exactly. He sees her as the kind of the
The homewrecker. That's really what it comes to back as, is that he sees her as a person who's wrecking a marriage and doesn't give a shit about Olive.
Yeah, and then he
sees his mother and all.
Yeah, he sees his mom and the whole situation with his mom, his dad in there. So then, of course, he says, horrible things to her there. And then we get to Traveler's Rest.
I love it. I love it so much.
It's brilliant. It's so well done. Just everything about it. I mean, we've already seen. Here's a good Roy DePape image here after the whole accident here. And then this, of course, as we get to him and his requests to poor little Shimi, we get the Rook's skull on a headless body here. And then the next one here, we actually see him. This is the only image. This is not the only. This is the main image I've always seen for Cuthbert is this one. And this one registers to me way more. Earlier, I know it's the same animation or whatever, but just in different circumstances.
Yeah.
It never looks right to me. That's Cuthbert. Like that's what. Every time you Google image search, that's the one that's going to invariably come up. So, and then we got the whole thing. Here we got the slingshot. We got the just multiple behind him, and then it
Yep.
just keeps stacking up and stacking up.
until Roland gets the best of them.
Yeah, Roland gets the best of, which we do cut out the whole thing because Jonas comes up on it from outside.
And he's like, "Where's the third?"
Yeah,
one?
exactly. He's like, "Where's the other one? I can't let him get the jump on me." So
Yeah.
this is a little bit different because it looks like he's either going in without that or he's, whatever. He's more a part of it, so he doesn't really have that moment, which is fine. In a comic, it's harder to maybe portray that in the kind of real estate you've got, but it works out well. I love the image of Jonas here with Roland behind him.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great animation there. I love it. This comic book does do well of the graphic novel, whatever you want to call it, with darkness. They do really well with darkness and how they're animating stuff with and using darkness and stuff. So then we got the whole making peace scene here, making everyone shake hands, and everything looks all honky dory and stuff. But then of course we get is that a throat punch?
Is it a throat punch?
That kind of looks like a throat punch to me. Which
I
is
think he hit him in the face, and it's boom.
I'm gonna believe it's a throat punch.
You just want to believe it's a throat punch.
Yes, indeed, because throat punches are great.
I mean, he's talking about breaking the man's glasses, which is not in the throat. Or maybe he aimed lower so he didn't break his glasses.
Yeah, exactly. You don't just go to lens crafters in this world.
That's true.
So, I'm going to believe it's a throat punch. And then we get the last little bit here, close up of
Cy Jonas.
Yeah, Mr. Jonas, and then he says he's going to kill them. So that is the end of it there. So overall, what do you think?
It's really good.
Because like I said, this is maybe we've only done a third of this before. I think the first time we only did the one chapter.
Yeah.
So
The best thing that honestly could have happened with us doing this is that I've read comics since the last time we tried this.
that's true.
Is
Yeah.
that I got into Batman and I've read comics. I mean, I've even expanded a little bit past Batman, but mostly it is still Batman
yeah.
that I read. And so I have, something to compare it to and everything like that. And I love comic books. I really do. I need to read more.
Yeah.
There's like those services out there where you can read like the Marvel ones.
Yeah.
I've done like free ones from that where it's a giveaway from like T-Mobile. It's like, hey, a free month of this. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I want to read this, Tad. How do I do it? And you're
Yeah.
like, you've had it before, so you walk me through it. But
Yeah.
physical comics is what I do with Batman. But I have this one digitally. Honestly, I might be looking at buying them.
Get the omnibus.
I might.
Yeah.
Because then I'll have it here and I'll be like, no, this one. And I was like, hold it up.
Yeah, yeah. And then in the chat, Carol said Shimi is spot on. And then about Rhea, she looks scary at the start. Such a long way to go. And then she also says it looks like he's wearing a red mask. Yeah, with Farson. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like it's either a mask, but in my mind, I almost wonder if it's kind of more of a helmet, like a whatever. Like
Yeah.
it would be as much for protection as it is for like intimidation.
Yeah.
Is how I would interpret it. But it could be. It might be a mask as well. Either way, it's pretty cool. Like in terms of overall, what's your biggest takeaway? What are your favorite things that you got here in these first couple issues? I love the Crimson King.
The Crimson King is scary.
Yeah.
Like creepy. I love the art of the guns. I really do. Like the guns that we've seen so far. You can see like Jonas's is a gun.
Yeah.
Roland's is a gun. And then Stevens is a hand cannon. It's like
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. It's like
So it's like that's so you can see like where in the books you can kind of see where it's like no one carried guns like that when they came through our town. Like
Yeah.
people at River Crossing were talking
And-
about. No one came through carrying a piece like that.
Yeah, they asked it before everyone was revealed in River Crossing when they were like, have these people seen anyone with guns? And Roland's like, they've never seen anyone with one like this.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And then Carol says, sliding the dust cover back on until next time. That's awesome. I'm glad it giving everyone the opportunity to pull them out and take a look at them because they're great, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great stuff here. The art is just absolutely brilliant. The writing is spot on. And I mean, of course, there's the asterisk of that King wrote it all, so all they had to do was adapt it. But I think they adapted it well. They didn't go overboard and change things up too much. They made some changes here and there, but it all just feels very true to what we know. And yeah, it's great. We haven't scheduled when we're going to do our next one, but we will definitely hit a couple more of these as the year goes on. Well, maybe by the next episode we'll have an idea of when our next one will be. We haven't scheduled exactly some of the things we need to do out exactly yet. So we will do that and have an answer for you next time of when we're going to come back to these. So that will wrap us up. So let's go ahead and hit the closing information. Let's go ahead and first of all, if you want to subscribe to us, you can do that on any podcasting service. You can stream us on Spotify or Stitcher. You can find the show notes at darktowerpalaver.com. Find all the links for everything we talked about in this episode, as well as the new questions. If you're a new listener, send those on in to us and introduce yourself. Because I will say, I do believe the mailbag is, I believe it might be empty. I'm going to go through the inbox one more time to make sure there's nothing that I forgot to paste in, but I don't think we have a whole lot of emails right now. So go ahead and send those in.
Another thing with emails, and I want to throw this out there because this actually has been in the back of my brain. I keep forgetting to bring it up with you, is that emails do not have to be only from new listeners. I know we're mentioning like the surveys and stuff like that.
Definitely.
But if you have something you want to say and it's going to be a little bit longer than you can fit in the chat, or something that you want to post on Twitter or Facebook or any of our social medias, shoot us an email. If you have a topic that you want us to discuss, we've done that before. We've had entire shows dedicated to fan questions and stuff like that. If you have anything, shoot us that email.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then last up, if you want to support us at Patreon, do that at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. And if you want to contact us in any of those, like what we just mentioned, Peter can tell you that. One thing I'll throw out there is between now and the end of the year, where we need to gather as many topics as we can for March Madness things for 2023, yes. And then we'll make those decisions. And I think what we decided is we mentioned in one of our YouTube videos that what we're going to do is we're going to get as many nominations as we can between now and the end of the year. And then our year-end bash, we will make that as part of the year-end bash, where we will announce
what the topic
will be, and then we'll have basically January and February for everyone to send in their nominations so that we can fill that the bracket for whatever topic it is. So year-end bash. So between now and then, with what Peter's going to tell you on our how to contact us, make that one of the things that maybe you want to reach out to us. What Sweet 16 March Madness brackets do you want to see us cover?
Exactly. Best way to reach us is email. It's darktowerpalaver@gmail.com. You can check out our shows on youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. As well as exclusive content on there like we talked about earlier. Like, subscribe, ring the bell so you can get notifications when we post a new video or when we're going live to record the podcast itself. Our social media is facebook.com/darktowerpalaver, and our Twitter is @darktowerpod. That's @darktowerpod. And then our Instagram is darktowerpalaver, all one word. And then check out our merchandise again, tpublic.com/user/darktowerpalaver.
So one thing, looking at the calendar, we have next we have a roundtable, and then the beginning of May we have a book club, which means that episode 121 will be right after we will have seen Firestarter by that point.
Firestarter discussion.
So, yeah.
Can we do it that soon, or do we need to wait?
I don't know. We also have a roundtable at the beginning of June. I don't know. We've talked about books, but I think with movies, we've never really talked about a lot of deadlines. Because movies we tend to talk about quicker because it's a lot easier a lot of time. And this one's going to be on
Well, what about
streaming.
if we just do it as a YouTube video instead?
I mean, there probably will be some kind of reaction on YouTube, but like.
But what if we just did the movie itself, like the reaction for Firestarter, as a YouTube video instead of on the podcast?
I think the
podcast listeners deserve it too.
Yeah, I think we gotta.
Look at Tad defending you guys. Peter is terrible.
I think it's more of a YouTube's more of a knee jerk reaction, quick responses, whereas the podcast is more long form. It's going to take a while, as Roland says. So those are two different conversations to have. Gotcha. So I think that's definitely it. But yeah, I think that we'll next episode we'll know for sure when we're going to cover it all. Yeah. But I know we have a time limit on books because we want to give people time to read them. But with movies, it's takes
a little bit longer.
Yeah, movies. I don't know if we need as much of a wait time, so we'll see.
And we'll also do warnings, like we'll do our regular show, the news and stuff like that. And then it'll be like, all right, now we're gonna like we did with the comics today.
Yeah,
you knew if you hadn't read the comics and you want to read them and not have it spoiled, I'm gonna stop right here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's crazy. That's coming that quick. We got one round table, one book club, and then the next round table. That was by that point, Firestarter will be out. So looking forward to that. See what kind of Charyu tree may be happening.
You know what I realized is that my niece is named Charlie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Better watch out. All right.
Whoosh.
We will sign off as we always do by saying long days and pleasant nights.
Long days and pleasant nights, folks.
All right, everyone in the chat, thank you guys for joining us. You guys are awesome. It's always good to have you guys chatting along with us. You guys are filled in some blanks for us, as well as, I don't know, had your guys' say in the conversations as well. A lot of people, I don't even know if we can go through and list everyone that was with us today.
Mark, Robert, Carol.
Oh, you got, what do you just?
That's just from memory, dude.
Oh, okay. Man, your memory is way better than mine is.
I remember that there was 2 Mikes. I remember two Marks, a Mike, a Robert, and a Carol, and I think there was someone else that I'm forgetting too.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through. Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being involved too. We always love it when you guys are engaging with us, chatting with us.
It's great.
Being part of the conversation. That is the absolute best reason why we decided to stick with live long term, is because you guys being involved is an absolute dimension to the show that just enrich the show in a way that it's just, I would never go back to doing it otherwise. So we will see you guys in a fortnight for Roundtable 120. So
Another roundtable.
Yes, another roundtable, and then back to book clubs at the beginning of May. So
Which is where we're going to get the stories.
what's that?
Roland telling the stories and everyone telling their
Oh
stories.
yeah, the Palaver, indeed.
Palaver.
So that'll be a fun section.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one, and we will see you in a fortnight.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.